finishing my sentence from 20 seconds ago before stream wasn't set up, it'd be way funnier if I answer that on stream, Kamui. So the full context of why that's funny, but since I started stream, I first have to say the original part that lacks the context, which is that it was funny, which is that Ace Overton, our guest, say hello, Ace.
Hey everybody, what's happening?
Our guest, Ace Overton. By the way, what would you like us to call you? Just Ace Overton, Mr. 10?
All the above are valid, though most people go by Ace.
All right.
Why don't we just do a combined Ace Overton, Mr. Overton, Mr. Ace, all at once? That's his name.
That's the t-shirt.
Yeah, that's the full name.
Well, is the lacking context part is our guest, Mr. Ace. He loves Kamui. And so I was saying that's especially funny to me since I have the context. So the context, Kamui, now that we've started stream, about 2 minutes after this has been said, and now that stream has been caught up. Okay, so it's funny because we were laughing at you earlier.
But how so? Like, what's the specifics?
Yeah, well, in a good way, I'll say. It's the fact that you were saying, oh, 10 o'clock. Oh, actually 10:30. Oh, actually 10:45. So me and Cam were also laughing at you for this, but Ace doesn't know that. So that's what I'm saying. Specifically me has all the context of why it's funny.
I mean, you act like that's not in character, and you act like you don't do the same every other stream.
Okay, well, but I'm not the one doing it this stream. So you're looking at the holistic perspective. I'm trying to look at the realistic perspective.
You weren't even done your thumbnail and stream setup. So frankly, it seems like
you weren't saying till 11. So that really what that means is I don't need to be ready till 11:15. Apparently.
No, well, that's on you at that point. So you were the final straw that broke the camel's back. So, frankly, I don't even know why you would criticize me.
Listen, at this point, all I know is that camel's back is shattered into a million pieces after what we've done to it over this past year.
Well, can you quantify its durability?
That's a great segue to Naruto. So, Ace, what do you think about that?
Ooh, how about Naruto? Man. I caught in the whole mind thought when I started thinking about Naruto because I just had the idea of I asked the question to a bunch of my friends, what would be the best 3-team tuning group you could put together against all tunings, period. And I was like, And that got me thinking because we went down a rabbit hole. So I got to reset. What were we talking about?
You know what? Let's just start with that. Let's consider the strongest team of tuning possible.
So is this including
so
every
that have to be officially
generation?
tuning, of course.
Yeah, these would be the tuning levels, but of any generation. And I was thinking of what felt like a good team to put together because I got to have them balanced like a real Konoha team. So mine was Sasuke because I'm a Sasuke fan. I'm also
Sasuke's never been a tuning. So
true.
He can't do.
Technically, he would have been a tuning at some point when he got ridiculous, though.
So are we?
He'd have been grown up Sasuke by that point. So
exactly. No, but you have to go by official. I
seriously
doubt Sasuke.
This is getting into the weeds, though. So are we going with tuning exam participants who are actually Genin, or are we going with tuning and not Jonin or Genin?
I was
thinking actual tuning. Well, why don't we just do all the options? Let's just do each iteration.
I mean, I would say those that are actually taking the tuning exam are tuning level. Even if they don't pass, that means you're just taking a weaker version. So
okay,
if I say I want Gaara as a Genin, that's still a murderous little boy with a powerful defense for most Genin.
Oh yeah, bro's literally the strongest in his village besides his Kage. He's Jonin level.
Right. Right. Cool. The murderous super child that has all the killer utilities who might murder his own siblings at any random time because they say, hey, maybe we shouldn't murder people today. Maybe we should. You know what? You're right, bro. You're right, little bro. You do what you want to do.
Chapter leaks are not out yet, but they're coming pretty soon, and we'll talk about it. Well, a little bit of them are out, but yeah.
We can do a team of academy students, so anyone who's like academy age, a team of Genin, so they're going to be like Gaara in this case is a Genin. Even if he's Jonin level, he is an official Genin. And then a tuning. And then I guess we could do Jonin if we really want, but We'll start with those three and then work our way up.
I mean, that would be a good one. If I was going with the academy level kids, I'm probably one taking still Sasuke and Neji because those I like prodigies, and two, that means physically in combat, my team should be able to handle any other kids out there. And then after that, I'd probably go with I had to throw somebody else to add into their team. I don't know. Who would I put in there? Maybe. Actually, you know what? I'd probably still put Sakura in there because she was also a genius. So anything that those two don't know, technically she would know, even if she can't do it yet.
Okay. So I like this because it makes us choose specific people who've already been in the academy. So, for example, I can't just choose Damon, even if he would be an academy student, because he's not in the academy.
Right.
So okay, and that being said,
even Hashirama and Madara,
exactly.
Tobirama, they were never in the academy.
The academy wasn't even started yet. Yeah, Tobirama started it.
So there just needs to be some type of academy. Obviously, like it doesn't need to be the Leaf Village. So if you want to say, Baki, he probably was in the Sand Village Academy. Not that you know how strong he was, but you can reasonably assume he probably was.
Okay, so my first two picks, I almost want to say they're unfair. They were in the academy together. Kamui, just based on that, you probably know who I'm going to say. So my first two academy picks for strongest academy group would be Kawaki and Himawari. the third option, a little bit weird, but it's up between, like, the mental boosted whatever Naruto that fought Mizuki, or Minato, who saved Kushina from several Jonin. But to be fair, that was at night when they were off guard, so I don't know if that counts.
I mean, I still count it as a win is a win. Win is a win.
Yeah, the fact that he did it matters. So for me, two easy picks, Kakashi and Itachi. As far as I've seen, Kakashi very well might be that in the history of the Leaf Village Academy, the strongest person in the academy. Like the way it's presented, Kakashi was the earliest to graduate. Bro is a Chunin the year after he graduated. He's the youngest Chunin, youngest academy graduate. Like, I gotta go with Kakashi. Itachi seemed implied to be very similar in that regard. The tricky one for me, though, is our third, because I could definitely say Zabuza, the Academy
I was going to say that too.
That might pose a problem for teamwork. I could definitely say Gaara, who is a 3-year-old who's beating Sand Jonin. And frankly, I don't know if any Academy student can beat Academy Gaara. But again, they might pose a teamwork problem here. And then Minato, but Minato's hard to say for sure where he's at. I'm kind of torn between those three. I'm thinking if Gaara is still kind, if we take Gaara like right before Yashimaru tried to assassinate him, I think we could get a good teamwork dynamic out of those three. But if we do after Yashimaru, I don't think Gaara is a safe bet. He's going to kill his teammates. Now, Kakashi and Itachi might be able to restrain Zabuza, if push comes to shove. So maybe they can keep Zabuza in line. I'm not sure. But Minato would be a safer choice.
Actually, I would say in your team, now that you put it out there and I thought about it, technically, if you took the best academy team ever, Minato, who was the only one to get a perfect score on the academy exam, Itachi, the youngest graduate, and then Kakashi, who was the only prodigies better than him, were those two. Those three on the team, I feel like there's nothing they can't figure out an answer for.
Well, actually, I did just think of another one, Mitsuki. Go rewatch early Boruto anime. That kid was by far the strongest academy student, even beyond the genius of geniuses Boruto's. Actually, Mitsuki might need to go in there.
No, I've definitely I changed my answer. Definitely Mitsuki. Yeah, the problem is that with Mitsuki is I don't think he's going to be doing as much teamwork as the rest, and plus technically he was like Shino's level, who is Jonin, but to be fair, the rank of Jonin has like increased over time, so the Jonin level Shino is probably like above Hokage level Hashirama at that time, so I don't think that counts.
So I think Mitsuki needs to be in there. So then it's between two of Kakashi, Itachi, Minato. So it depends on which two you think was the strongest in the academy.
What about my picks of Kawaki and Himawari?
Is a good contender. Okay, yeah,
I mean, they're
Kawaki.
strong, but do they have that
Kawaki
dog
should
in
be
them?
stronger than Academy Kakashi, but you know what? Kawaki didn't feel that strong in the arc, so granted, he wasn't going all out. But I guess, yeah. Well, wait. Are we gonna allow Kawaki to only use what he displays in the arc in the Academy,
I was
or
afraid
is
you
he
were gonna say
allowed to
that.
use his karmas? Actually, he doesn't have karma at that time.
Well, I
Wait, does
think he
he?
should be allowed to
No, he doesn't,
use it
yeah.
because I think Mitsuki should be allowed to use his stuff. Himawari can use lock-on mode. Naruto can use Nine Tails. We
The
just give them their
difference is
full stuff.
Mitsuki uses his in the Academy. Kawaki actually doesn't have karma, so it's just his ninja tag.
Oh,
So that's all we
right.
can count at that time.
Okay, that does change it then. Ooh, that hurts.
I mean,
So I think Kawaki
was strong. Like, if you
definitely.
look at Kawaki versus
Yeah.
Garo,
I mean, still
Yeah.
strong,
but
Yeah. Plus, he's like 16.
Mm,
He's got
so-
like 10 years advantage of life experience on everyone else.
yeah,
Also true.
yeah. So I feel like Kawaki, Mitsuki, so that it's like, okay, between Kakashi, Itachi, Minato, who was the strongest in the Academy? I almost feel like it was Kakashi, just based off how it felt. He's like his age and everything, but
I
feel like that could go any.
I would say he
which
was
way.
shown the most. Like they talked about Itachi and Minato, but they didn't really show what they did. We saw Kakashi doing ridiculous things as a child because he was the son of the White Fang, so he had to be great. Because no pressure at all, and plus they were war children, and we all know children born and bred for war. They were like murderers at an early age, so that's why I think the Kakashi, Minato, Itachi team would just be willing to get the job done where others would hesitate.
They would work well. They're all on the same page.
They would have like
I will
instant team chemistry.
Yeah, like honestly, I will say though, Kakashi was a Chunin at 6. Itachi didn't become a Chunin until age 10, 2 years after the Sharingan. And Kakashi didn't even have his Sharingan yet, so that does kind of imply Kakashi was stronger faster, unless it's purely because they needed Kakashi and nothing more than that. But
I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. They kind of needed a Kakashi, whereas also for Itachi, he was allowed to like foster a little bit. But when he was like, okay, we got to go, he went from graduate to leader of the Anbu. It's like, oh, you're that guy. You're my boss now. Hi, sir. I'm sorry. Yeah, you run things here. Yes, I do. I run everything now.
So, I mean, it's difficult to say though, but taking things literally, I'm thinking 6-year-old or 5-year-old Kakashi might be stronger than 5 or 6-year-old Itachi, but 13-year-old Itachi is probably stronger than 13-year-old Kakashi.
I agree. So
plus with the age difference, Kakashi was a few years older, so it's like 16 to 13. So in that time frame, he would be stronger. So that counts.
Yeah, so the problem,
Minato's the wild card, though.
The problem Kamui with Kakashi and Itachi in this case is, whereas they're prodigies, yes, they entered the academy so young and graduated so young that we're using like the 4-year-old version of these like the weakest version of these like strongest characters. So they probably graduated because their strength level exceeded a certain graduation requirement or whatever at the time. So I don't think, like, when we're comparing academy, you're comparing like their current strength compared to the actual academy level. I would say Kakashi and Itachi graduated young, but around the same average strength level of the average graduate who's probably like double their age.
I don't know. Like, if you look at the flashbacks, like Itachi and Kakashi were just way stronger than the rest of the graduates. So they were definitely very much a cut above the rest. That being said, though, there is the point to mention that, you know, Kakashi and Itachi are, well, I think Itachi graduated maybe 8 when he got his Sharingan. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Kakashi graduated at 5. 5-year-old Kakashi very easily might just be weaker than 11-year-old Neji in the academy. And, you know, that is fair to bring up. So that's the problem with this.
Exactly.
That is true. Because we are basing it off their more grown feats that we've seen of them. We didn't see them as kids, but to graduate that early, you have to be broken. And we have to imagine that the academy level has been somewhat comparable over the years till it became broken over a few generations.
Now, I will say,
a spade. I mean, he's got to be comparable.
I will say,
I do think if we're saying 5-year-old characters, it's easily Kakashi, Itachi, Minato, and them. But if we're saying academy, that's where it's like, okay, like 11-year-old Neji, I don't know.
Yeah,
right, like, cool. If you didn't graduate the academy till you were 22 and were Jonin level,
like Kawaki is a 14-year-old in the academy.
Exactly. Yeah. So the thing with Itachi in particular, I mean, both Kakashi and Itachi are displayed in the anime and their filler arc to be like just above the rest of the academy students when they're in the academy. But especially with Itachi, where it's shown, I think Kakashi had stated, they're still getting like real world combat experience in war, even I think during the academy. We with Itachi we see that in the anime. To be fair, that part might be filler, but like the fact that he's going up against like Jonin level combatants. To be fair, the Jonin we saw was like dehydrated and already dying anyway, so I don't know if that like scales like a full scale, just high tier Jonin or something.
Yeah.
But still, Itachi's just taking him out with like no effort. Then again, you get to like the novel statements to where it's like Genin, maybe even Chunin, Anbu level Itachi at this point with this 3 Tomoe Sharingan is facing off against a Mukai. To be fair, he's like Hokage level, but like Mukai Hyuga in the novels, and he's just losing. So that's 3 Tomoe Genin or Chunin.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Shisui was also having trouble against him until the Mangekyo came out. But the point is, they were still struggling.
Yeah,
Right.
but that just goes to show how strong Mukai was. But I will say, in the novels, Genin Itachi is just straight up stronger than his Jonin sensei. So we already know he's like beyond Jonin level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was like so strong where it was like boring to be in the school. Like none of this is serious. I can't take any of this serious. For real, this is just us messing around. So I got to go do real work till I got to grow up.
Okay, so I have 2 more sleeper picks.
I mean,
so, okay, 2 that you actually haven't considered yet. Yeah, you're probably going to debate me on this, but okay. The first one, I was watching a Sage of Thick Calves video yesterday. He's another Naruto YouTuber, in case you don't know. So, in the video, he brought up a scan that was saying that Hiruzen surpassed Tobirama in his childhood. So, child Hiruzen passed current Tobirama. I don't know if this is as a ninja or battle power or what, but that scan exists. We don't know when that means. It could be anywhere from 2 years old to like 13 years old, or who knows. But yeah, the point is that applies at some point. It's vague, it's ambiguous, we don't know when. Could be Academy, could be Genin, could be Chunin, who knows, but that scan exists. I just want to point that out. The second pick, you probably haven't considered this. So as we know, Zabuza and Haku went rogue. Before then, it seems as if they were just actual ninja. Zabuza, we know, just straight up was. Haku, it's not shown or ever stated, but seemingly he would have to be, considering, I mean, he has a headband, first of all, but he's a tracker ninja, second of all. But, like, if he's going along with Zabuza, it's sort of implied that he would have either gone through the academy or just qualified to become a Genin or something, to just be an actual ninja before the assassination attempt that got them rogue in the first place. So if we're counting that, Haku would just count as either Genin or Tracker Rambu or Academy student or something, which would probably be above Zabuza's.
So 2 things. While Haku would be a contender, I do want to point out that I don't think Haku ever became an official ninja, because the time that like Zabuza meets Haku, he basically immediately says, tonight I'm casting aside the land of water and blah blah blah. That either implies that's just when he did the coup d'etat, or he just got done failing the coup d'etat. I don't think Haku was traveling with Zabuza for very long, if even a full day, before Zabuza went rogue.
So I think I don't think that's necessarily true. Again, I can't prove it, but they're currently, when they're rogue, when we meet them, they're trying to save up funds for a second attempt. So this would imply that Zabuza not had only made up his mind to go about this route, but had already saved up the funds for the first attempt. Now, just like the Akatsuki, I don't know why they need to save up funds to make the attempt in the first place, other than like hiring the Akatsuki, I suppose, if you want to say that, but like they're rogue anyways. Was Zabuza paying Haku? Like, what funds do they need to save up for this attempt? I think paying off the guards? Look the other way?
No, he wasn't paying Haku. I think the point, though, for Zabuza at least, is Zabuza would probably pay other rogue ninja or Miss Ninja to join him with the coup d'etat.
Sure.
So not Haku, but, you know, hypothetically Kisame. Here's a big check for you. Come help me out.
That
makes a lot of sense. I mean, also, if you think about it on that same side, 1, you do need money to sustain yourself. 2, you can build up skilled ninjas and pay them off because they're going to be expensive. And 3, you can get intel with the money to know who you need to take out and where they are. And intel is the most important thing in the entire ninja world. Doesn't matter how strong you are if you don't know where the enemy is. So
That's
ideally,
facts.
if you got enough money, you can find out where the leader of the village is and kill the Mizukage.
Oh, there you go.
We do know that like people like Suzuki as Kage, or not as Kage, but Seven Ninja Swordsman, was very on board with just selling out information for money, bro.
That's a good point. Seven
So-
Ninja Swordsman, definitely I could see Zabuza hiring them in particular. I mean, he was
Oh,
already a
yeah,
part
like-
of it, so I don't know if he would hire them or if someone else hires the Seven Ninja Sword. I don't know how that works. Like, hypothetically, could the Akatsuki hire each other to go on each other's missions?
No,
I
the
mean-
Seven Ninja Swordsman as a group is honestly kind of just like weird. So like, how does it work? Because it feels like all of them except for Chojuro were just rogue ninja. like the moment you become a Seven Ninja Swordsman, you just dip the village. Why are they handing out the swords to these types of people? Almost none of them were trustworthy. Like Kisame. Well, actually, no, Kisame wasn't a Seven Ninja Swordsman until he left the village. So
Yeah.
maybe Mangetsu, he may have stayed in the village. I'm not sure if I don't know, but like for the most part, these guys did not seem trustworthy. So why was the Kage giving them these blades?
I mean, this is the same place where they literally have all the children of a grade murder each other till one's left. So,
I mean, that's
I
why
mean-
they were so good at it. They're like, you got this, chief.
like, hey, look, you're the strongest of our ninja. Here's this cool sword, so you stay around with us and don't murder me, hopefully.
Would Kisame even help Zabuza, though, said Space? It's a good boy.
Exactly. You just kind of like, here's the
Lord.
swords. Like, if you guys just, use them, just chill and do whatever you want. And when somebody shows up, kill them. Deal.
Yeah.
Sith Arth.
Now, I brought up another one about Academy. Do you think
Okay.
the Sound Village had any sort of academy? The reason I'm bringing that up is
No.
because
Fake
hypothetically, the Sound Ninja 4, if they're just, 14 years old, whatever age they are, and they just go to the academy for 1 second before Orochimaru's like, yeah, you're good. I mean, we could count that, right?
I mean, it's a fake village, though. Like, it's not a real place in the first place. Like, okay, but here's the thing, though. How did they
You
get
got
past
that?
the Leaf Village's security to enter as an official village? And like, who is this fake Orochimaru just showing up like, hey, I have a sound village. Just believe me, bro. Like, he doesn't have paperwork or anything. Like, he's not recognized by any other official nation. Like, what is
He
this?
evidently was.
Yeah, by the
recognized. They just were a mystery. Like he must have done some time. I mean, the filler arcs give us a little bit more about like what he did with the feudal lord and stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as where we're, he had to have like actually gotten official documents for his fake village. I mean, it kind of is a village, but it's also kind of not.
I mean, you gotta think about it. It's also Orochimaru we talking about, who was a genius all this time. Pretty sure he's been faking information his entire life. So him to fake some fake documents to come into a tuning exam in which all the other, which we didn't get to see him, but there had to be other little small villages, like the village in the waves, the village in the tree branches, the village down in the valley, the little villages that send somebody up there.
Bro,
And
that
they were
sounds
like, "You know
official.
what? We're gonna try," and then they immediately got wiped out and was like, "No, we're done. We're going back home."
I
And
mean,
Orochimaru just faked like them.
Considering all the other villages we have that are official, the villages in Tree Branches, I'm surprised that's not official. Like, we have villages in the stairs, villages in the stars, like, villages everywhere, apparently.
Yeah.
It feels like they just ran out of names after a while. Like, can we be the
They're
village?
just
How
coming
about by
up
the
with whatever
water?
nonsense. Like,
No, there's a village in the water. Can we be the mist? Nope. Cloud? Damn. Dirt? Sand? No. Grass? That's taken too.
the village
Fuck.
hidden in the dirt. I like that.
I mean, freaking even before villages were established, they had the land of that. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
The land of that. I love that.
Oh, this is the land of fire. Oh, so it's like volcanoes and like lava and all that. No, it's a bunch of trees, grassy plains.
No, why
What-
isn't
what-
it the land of like trees or the land of the forest or the land of wood or land of grass? Like
The
or
will of
land I don't know,
fire.
plants. Like why is
I
it
mean,
fire?
You gotta have trees to burn fire, so I guess that could work. But I feel like that was a stretch that somebody came up with. And they were like, "Yeah, all right, whatever, man."
I do think I do know the answer, at least have an answer. So I'm pretty sure Madara is the one that named the Hidden Leaf Village. So we know that like the Uchiha are renowned for their fire style, and so I'm assuming because the Uchiha were like the first inhabitants of Konoha, who Madara himself even named, maybe Madara named the land after their Uchiha's signature weapon or whatever.
Right. Not
So
so
I
much
was
it's
gonna
a fire
say
land, but it's their
Hashirama
land.
having Will of Fire would be another one. That being said, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Hashirama tells Madara, hey, the feudal lord of the land of fire wants to partner with us. So I think it already existed before the village.
God damn it.
I mean, they could have also just decided that was going to be the name. So it's like, hey, you're the lord of the land of fire now. And it's like, wait, no, this is
Yeah, you
this
just
is my
told him.
great village, the land of fire, right? And they just pull out weapons like, you're right, you two right, land of fire, fire lord. I got that. I can do this.
I will also say, like the other villages, like, well, okay, the Sand Village is a little bit weird in this one, but like Cloud Village, Land of Lightning, lightning coming from the clouds makes sense. Mist Village, wait, it's just water evaporated, makes sense. Earth and Stone, don't need to discuss that one. Fire leaves, that's where we get into the weird one. Wind and sand, I guess I could say sandstorms are quite windy, but the fire leaves, that's the you burn wood to make fire.
I think Village Hidden in the Waterfalls is the
Hashirama
one
and
that
them
makes
came
the
up with
most sense. I will say Village
do like
Hidden in the Blood, because it has the Blood Valley, which happens after the village's establishment. Why did they start calling it the Village Hidden in the Blood or whatever?
I thought of another one though. The land, like the village hidden in the steam. Come on, bro. Steam and Mist, that's hardly any different. Yes, it's different, but not that different. As far as being hidden in it goes, it's gonna look the same.
That's funny.
Village in the hiccup. Look, it's a different type of air, bro. We're running out of air types, all right? I feel like Hashirama and Madara came up with Land of Fire, and everybody else like, fuck, that's kind of cool. Okay. Hey, look, we need to come up with a name. We need names. We need cool names. And then the cloud was like, look, clouds, we're up in the mountains. We could do mountains. Like, no, mountains is weird. We don't really do mountains. We just own the mountains. How about clouds? Clouds could be cool. I could draw a cold ass cloud design. And we do lightning jutsu. Boom. Cloud lightning. There you go. And it's like, all right, cool. And then everybody else is like, fuck, they came up with another name. We need a name too. I feel like that was a big meeting where everybody just pulled out names out of their ass and went back like, this is the land of waves now. What land of mist? The Mist Village.
The funny thing
in the
is,
mist?
in Naruto Shippuden movie 2, movie Bonds, you have a literal village hidden in the clouds. Like, what would you even call it at that point? It's already it's village hidden in a stratosphere. I don't know.
Village hidden in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Village in the
village hidden in the sky.
Okay, I got a really cool
it's-
one. So this doesn't exist, but like hypothetically, Kamui, we're rewriting Boruto. Boruto's a rogue ninja. What if he goes to start his own village? This could even be in the future if he takes Sarada and Himawari with him. His village is village hidden in the Gale.
I thought of a goofier
Gale
one.
style.
Village hidden in the bananas. Why, you ask? Because of his hair design.
Oh my god. Oh god. Village hidden in the Karma
You know
could be
what?
cool. I don't know.
Village hidden in the karma.
Now that's just giving away his location at that point.
No, I need village hidden in the shadows. Why isn't there not a shadow
Ooh,
village?
That
that's
makes sense for
good.
Shadow Hokage.
That is so
Right,
He
good.
literally
Shadow
wants to be the
Hokage.
Shadow Hokage. So he would be the Kage.
Exactly. You just chill out. Your base is you got a headquarters up by the
Land of
mountains.
shadows.
Like the
land
base.
of shadows, Kage.
Look, you just put your secret headquarters inside the mountain with all the heads. Shadow Hokage headquarters. Nobody
Yo.
knows about it.
Low key.
The Land of Light, Village Hidden in the Light, Land of Shadows, Village Hidden in the Shadows idea is honestly just awesome.
Okay, so Kamui, regardless of what you think about Madara, I think you'll agree with this would be like the coolest hideout for Boruto aside from Orochimaru. What if he goes to where Madara's cave was? And what if he still has like Tintel's stuff there? That'd be so
that would
cool.
be dope. Like if they
Right?
use, I mean, I will say Orochimaru's cave, or I like because, you know, chance of Orochimaru getting involved in the story, but ignoring that aspect, just as a hideout, that's just dope, bro. It's got the freaking Madara cave layer that Obito and Zetsu and Madara were all using. That's just like cool. And nobody's finding them.
Yeah. Okay, well, looking at chat. Oh,
Back
actually,
to the original point, though. I mean, Academy Neji versus Academy Kakashi. Like, what do you realistically think? If you go by the Chunin exams, Kakashi's gassing up Neji, and so is Lee, to the point that you might think Neji just would be stronger. But we never saw Academy Neji. It's the problem.
So Neji's probably, I don't want to say equal to like 3-gate Lee, but it's so weird to say that, but it's like implied, even though I don't think that makes sense personally, but whatever. If that's true,
I mean, it is implied. So.
I mean, I think that it is kind of true because if we remember the retrieval arc, when you remember the speed of how he was dodging those spiders, I think that if it came down to it, he had the hand speed in base form to handle 3-gate Lee. But I think above that, think he outclasses the speed and the high hand-eye coordination of Neji. I think Neji could see it, but he wouldn't be able to react to it in time. But I think before that, Neji's hand speed arguably is probably the fastest for a child at that age. It's ridiculous.
What's more, Kidomaru, at least I know it's his opinion, but he's just like, yeah, dude, you're by far the strongest of your group. Kidomaru is also implied to be one of the strongest two of the Sound Four, and Neji is the only person to straight up defeat his opponent without external help. No red pills like Choji, no Tamari or Kankuro like Shikamaru and Kiba, no Rock Lee and Gaara like Naruto. Like, Neji's the only one to just straight up defeat his opponent. I'm just saying, bro, Neji was strong.
I mean, I'm going to give Choji his credit. That's his ninja tool, and I'm not going to rock him for not using his ninja tool.
Oh, absolutely.
But I also salty because
he needed it for
he should have. Hell yeah.
Something I will say, especially in regards to the war arc here, what we're doing in this case is, I almost feel like I'm getting deja vu with this conversation, but in this case, as it is, we had like 200 billion characters revived and involved in this war, and didn't actually do anything with them narratively, so we just dragged out this war arc with a lot of fluff that didn't need to be there in this case. But in this case, we're taking who was there, at least in the anime, if we're going to count the Sound 4, and making actual use of them. So we can still remove the fluff of the characters we didn't use, and we're going to replace it with, in this case, actual narrative substance.
Yeah.
I can say that can work as long as the dialogue matches.
Exactly. Because this is the problem with the war arc anyways, that a lot of people, I think including Ace, you would agree, you have as well, to where it's almost paradoxical. In fact, I think it is the same feeling that Two Blue Vortex is giving, at least in these first 10 chapters, is that it's both the best and worst pacing possible. It's stretched so long. The war arc is way longer than it needs to be. And it feels like the pacing is rushed at the same time. It's just weird.
And that's because it introduced like 100,000 elements that could have been used. And so what isn't used is rushed. And then, but because there's 900,000 things there, it's also dragged out.
It feels like a lot of things are happening and nothing at the same time.
Imagine, I'm going to make up hypotheticals here, but imagine there are 200 revived Edo Tensei, and you dedicate 1 page per Edo Tensei. You have breezed through all 200 of them, 1 page, but you've also dragged out this war 200 pages. That's like, I don't know how many chapters, 20 chapters or some shit, whatever. Like,
exactly.
I guess we could do more nonsensical, maybe 2 pages, but you get the point. It's like we're both dragging out the arc and rushing through all the elements of the arc in that case.
And again, it feels like a lot of things are happening and nothing is happening all at the same time, which is why it feels that way.
And that's because a lot of, no offense, the 7 Ninja Swordsman fight, not counting Zabuza and Haku here, is cool, but there's no narrative weight to this.
Exactly.
And Pakura in the manga, Gari at 90% of the Edo Tensei, it's cool, but there's no narrative weight to these fights. In the case of Asuma Choji, nobody likes it because it doesn't actually work. Not in our Choji rewrite, of course. But the point is, less is more. It would have been better to maybe have half the Edo Tensei, but give all of them focus instead of having so many that it's because as it is, you've already got 100,000 white Setsu. We already know that the army is strong. Do we really need to have 100,000 Edo Tensei too?
Exactly. So
I mean, that does make a lot of sense.
yeah, and I've said this in the past. I think by the
and
war,
then you just use the nonsense characters like sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
You're
but
fine.
take the nonsense characters like frickin' Onoki's son and Kurt Tsuchi's dad. I think it's Kitsuchi's his name. People like him can fight the Zetsu. The nonsense we don't care
Katsuchi.
characters can fight the nonsense we don't care villain, and we have the important characters fight the Edo Tensei. Problem solved.
Yeah, perfect.
So we know it's even battle strength.
Exactly. So I feel like by the war arc that Kishimoto was running on fumes in terms of his writing or whatever, because he's been doing this for like 600 weeks in a row basically at this point. So those last like 100 chapters, I can imagine he was feeling a little stressed out. Like, it's literally the point of the Boruto movie. It's that he was too busy to be there with his family. The point is he was busy. Like, we all saw his ridiculous, corrupt schedule of him getting like 2 hours of sleep per night for several years in a row. I feel like by the war, Kishimoto.
You know what? He is Kishimaru at this point.
Literally, yeah. Kishimoto was running on fumes. He's too stressed. He's too difficult to tighten it. It was still written well. It just wasn't tighten it, unlike the rest of Naruto.
Yeah.
It's very interesting what you said, Ace, because unlike Kamui, you're almost the foil in this case, to where you've seen like hundreds of anime. I think would I be correct?
Oh, yeah. I've seen a gross amount of anime of all different types, and my tastes tend to be. I am a guy who, for me, the story of the anime comes first. It can be as pretty as possible, like God of High School, amazingly look cute, extremely on point and accurate martial arts for the different styles they had. Had characters in it that I love as a guy who played Dynasty Warriors forever, if you know, you know, and watched Universe of the Four Gods, if you know, you know. I loved it. Story-wise, it was ass cheeks. It made zero sense after like the 4th episode because they just rushed it all together, but it looked pretty. On the other side, there's anime like Bofuri, which isn't action-packed, but has its moments, and is literally just about a girl learning to play a virtual video game and making friends. And it is some of the coolest shit that I've ever seen, and the way they expand the story. Season 1 was great. I didn't think they could do better in Season 2, and they did better in Season 2 somehow. And you would think that at some point the trope would stop of her not being really good and finding these weird shit. She basically puts all her stats into defense because she doesn't want to get hurt in the video game. So she has 0 offensive ability, all maxed out defense. Nothing can really hurt her for a long time. And somehow she falls her way into winning and getting considered one of the top ranked players in the world in this game where it's like a big MMO. Things like that I love, because if you give me something with all the tropes I've seen, you got to give it to me in a different way. That's a fresh take. So like Kaiju number 8 did the same thing that Attack on Titan does, but it did it way better in the first season than Attack on Titan could have ever dreamed. It's concise. It didn't drag in the story. Every episode gives you information that you need while pushing the story forward and developing characters.
Literally.
No, actually, it would be fun to derail the Attack on Titan for a little bit, but real quick, I have heard like 5 different people praise Kaiju number 8 a lot. Like, is it like actually just like peak, or what? Should I be
the way I had it explained to me is that it's Attack on Titan minus all the bad. And this was from my friend Todd, that the pro blog, whatever, that I did that video with 8 years ago, who thinks along the same lines of me with Attack on Titan, and I'm like the proclaimed #1 Attack on Titan hater. So
have you started a single episode of Kaiju number 8, Oodie?
I haven't. No, I've seen the animation, but I haven't actually watched it.
Like, should we just make that a thing? Like, I mean, Ace, do you recommend it?
I will tell you this as far as a recommendation. Yes, for multiple reasons. One, there's a few things when it comes to anime I recommend. One, it has a banger opener. The opener is so good, I put it on my personal playlist to play when I'm in my car. I'm mad that it's not the full song because it's that fire. 2, the opening gives you a lot, but with no context. So 1, it looks great. 2, visually, it's amazing. 3, you have no idea what it means, so you don't understand anything that might be a spoiler in it. Nothing at all. Even watching it back without paying attention, I don't notice anything because it's just that visually delicious. 4, the voice acting is great in Japanese and in the English VA. Both of them are high quality, either way that you want to go, which is always amazing when that happens. The animation is ridiculous. The style is great. And it has comedy interspersed with an excellent story and great beats and amazing character. Like you'll learn to love these characters. By the time you get to episode 12 of the first season, you're going to have 2 or 3 characters. You'll be like, I like that guy. That's my guy. If anything happens to that guy, I'm going to feel some type of way. But that's my guy. You're going to have moments where you go, oh, ooh, okay, wait a minute. Whoa. There's going to be moments that are going to leave you breathless where you just look at it and say, I got to see that again. Wait a minute. Go back. I got to see this one more time. What happened? How did he? Okay. All right. So yeah, I have like 5 or 6 different characters that I love. I love the story. I love the way that they set it up. I love the speed at which they bring you into the world and it makes logical sense. Okay. I love even the small little callbacks they do. There's nothing, I'll put it this way, there's nothing wrong that they did in the first season that I would change. And that's rare for me. There's only a few anime that have a season where I'm like, this season was great. This is one of those where I wouldn't change anything about the first season. The Promised Neverland's first season I've never changed about. We don't talk about anything that happened after that. Only the first season exists. The anime ends after the first season. That's where the anime ends. And I'm sticking to that story. What's another great one? Another great one, if you have never seen it, the first 3 seasons of Ruby. Yep. Incredible. Amazing. Probably the best 3-season arc of any anime, period. And I'll stand on that. Because you don't watch the end of season 3 and don't feel some type of way. By the end of season 3, you're angry and you don't even know why for the most part. You feel frustrated and angry like you were in the show and everything happened to you because it draws you in that quickly. It's the reason why it's one of the few English anime ever to be accepted in Japan as anime. That's how you get the title. So that alone should tell you that Ruby is one to watch. And the music, of course, is amazing. That's another big thing for me. I'd say a big one for me right now is Sword of Wisteria, who's doing a lot of things and has a lot of echoing tropes to a lot of different shows, but does it like Kaiju number 8 in a unique way where it has me invested immediately. One episode and I'm in. I showed it to one of my guys. He saw the one episode, like Adonis. He saw today the first episode. And it was like, okay, world building, some of these things kind of reminds me of some of these other anime. And then saw the ending of it. It was like, I'm in. I'm down. I'm here for this. We're here for this. This is on the list. We're adding this to the rotation. It's that type of show. It makes you want to see what happens next, and I love shows like that.
Yeah. Shout out Adonis, by the way. SS Jutsu. I was bringing him up to Mello. I'd like to get him on the podcast at some point, too. Maybe go on his. But I still watch him from time to time, even though I don't watch all the anime that he watches. I actually just got done with, like, a 2-year anime hiatus, so I'm, like, getting back into it for the first time this year. It's been a while since I've watched. I stopped watching it, unironically, because I was watching Bleach with one of my friends named Rain, and we were going to make a video on it, and I refused to watch anime until we made the video. Ago. We still haven't made the video. I just given up on the video. I've just got back to watching anime. But
well, you know what? Honestly, like I think I'm rereading Death Note for the first time and rewatching the anime as I do it just for fun, and I'm loving it. Yeah. But after that, I honestly maybe I should just try Kaiju number 8. Hopefully, I won't like it too much, and I'll want to talk about.
Well, hang on, Kamui. Okay, so for reference, again, Kamui's doing.
Oh, that's right. We need to do Platinum Egg first.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my idea, Kamui, because I was just thinking about this as you're saying this. So we're gonna do this juxtapose contrast. We're gonna love this juxtaposition. We're gonna go from peak of Death Note is what you're watching right now. You're not watching on stream, but that's fine. We're gonna go from that to on stream on Twitch probably. Watch all of the worst anime of all time. Literally last on my list. I'm sharing my screen so you can see up last on my list. Platinum in worst anime of all time. We're gonna go from peak to the worst, and then we're gonna juxtapose that going back to the best with Kaiju number 8. Compared to Attack on Titan being the best anime of all time.
I love it. I have never heard anyone diss Kaiju number 8 so far. Like Kito's been praising it for a long ass time, and of course, like I just never watched it, but I've been hearing more and more people talk about it. I'm like, honestly, the Ace said nothing but good about it, so I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we should do this. I'm down for that order too.
Okay.
I was going to say, be careful of your order because combining certain anime together can make the other anime seem bad. Like you don't want to add an anime like Naruto compared with a faster paced one, such as a good example would be My Hero Academia, which moves at a much quicker pace than Naruto's story. And if you watch one and then watch the other, you're like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing 20 and a 75? They're going 90. We're already into the middle of some important stuff in the first season. I don't even know half the characters' names yet, Naruto. What are we doing? Why are we going so slow? Why is all this here?
Yeah.
So that'd be the only thing that I can say. But when it comes to anime, especially first season of anime, I got a good list of ones that I normally sprinkle out there for people. And I take pride in being able to zone in on a person and finding an anime that fits.
Same.
Because as I tell all my friends, there's no such thing as an anime that you don't like. You just haven't come across the right anime yet. If you like watching things, there's an anime that fits what you like. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
I can give you murder mystery with Moriarty the Patriot, which is, if you love Death Note, you'll love Moriarty the Patriot. Anything about a smart, intelligent, vicious person, I'm here for it. I'm here for it on the inside. If you want something
I
that's
love those.
oh yeah, that Moriarty the Patriot also has an amazing intro. Just watching another one of the intro videos you can watch. The song is amazing. And 3, it looks visually beautiful, but it's the story of James Moriarty, who is the arch nemesis of Sherlock Holmes, which is a story you don't regularly get. And from his view of how he becomes the Lord of Crime, how you go from being a nobody to being this big bad all around the world, everybody works for me evil guy, and how you build that network from the ground up. It's an amazing story to see. And there's also my all-time favorite one season anime, Akudama Drive. Gives you everything that you need in a single season. And I can't think of a better way to put it, in a visual way, a storytelling way, character way, sound design way is incredible. The story pacing, every episode makes you want to watch the next one, which we do Sunday watch along. So we've been watching along with it. And so another one of those where after the first episode, when you watch it, you're like, okay, I'm in.
God, I have like a million different points I want to make, and the problem is they're all different and based on different things you said. I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll start on the last things you're saying. So the first thing is, Kamui hasn't seen Dragon Ball, which I know is blasphemous, and he needs to, and I can't believe he hasn't. That's one of the anime that I want to watch with him on his Twitch. In fact, that's that's one of the anime that I think specifically Kamui would love to watch, and I would pride myself on thinking that and thinking that'd be right. Watching the abridged over Dragon Ball with Kamui again, I would love to do that as well. It's probably the funniest abridged out there, in my opinion. A Sword Art Online might be the best in terms of what they do to transform the story. In fact, I literally have that on my list of my anime that I got pulled up on my screen right now, but it's freaking good.
I do want to go all-time favorite.
Yeah.
That's one of my all-time favorites, but that's because I view the story differently than everybody else. I don't view it as the anime trope of being in a video game and all that, or the fantasy trope. It's really a psychological thriller profile of seeing what a person who believes that virtual reality for them becomes almost like a drug and becomes better for him than the real world, to the point that he can't function fully in the real world anymore. But in the virtual world, he's almost unstoppable at times, which is an incredible thing to see. That kind of goes to the thing that people worried about video games, that if you become a gamer and you play too long, you won't be able to relate to the real world. And to a degree, that's kind of true. But when does virtual reality blend with reality to the point you can't tell the difference anymore? And that's the part that I love that they were getting to, and they finally got there. And it's so chef's kiss that it's like season 5 of My Hero Academia. It's not the best, but when you get through it, it makes sense in the whole total picture of the whole dinner. Like, all the courses make sense when you put it together, but that one by itself isn't the best, but it mixes well with everything else.
Yeah. I've talked about this on the channel before, but personally, this is just a personal thing. I'm passionate about this too. I hate isekai as a genre. It is by far the worst genre, not even close to any other genre. Every other genre is fine or mid at best. I personally just hate with a passion isekai, because it feels like you're just trying to run away from your life, basically, because your life just sucks, which at that point, just go fix your life. Don't go watching it. Like, this isn't therapy.
Oh, please, Oodie. I don't want to hear that bullshit from the Infinite Tsukuyomi, praise Lord, kiss Madara's ass, Infinite Tsukuyomi lover.
See, yeah, I knew Kamui, of all people, wouldn't understand.
I mean, I will also say I'm a huge isekai guy, but in this respect, I will say if it's not done well, then it's terrible. It's a very thin line between good isekai and just terrible tropes. Like that time I got reincarnated as slime, excellent way to pull off an isekai. or what's another good one that I loved? Oh, Bafuri, which technically works as an isekai, or Sword Art Online. I love the way they do those, but there are also those that will go unmentioned that I would not watch unless paid a significant sum of money to sit there, and even then, it's going to be a gradually increasing significant sum to continue to force myself to watch it without me losing my mind.
Now, I do think some isekai, if you even want to consider them isekai, are like anti-isekai, if anything, to where they work, to where the entire point is about trying to escape this new world to go back to your old life. In fact, it doesn't have to be literally a physical new world like it is in Sword Art Online, which makes me like Sword Art Online that they do try to do that, or at least that's the point, even if they're not trying to do that half the time, and it's just bad in other ways. But besides that, I think Dead Man Wonderland is by far the best isekai, even if they're not leaving the world or anything. It's just something bad happens to the main character, and it wasn't his fault, but people blame him, and it's ridiculous. And then he has basically, just no spoilers, but like minimum spoilers, he has to go to prison. It's like a ridiculous prison too, to where it's like the worst thing ever. And the whole point is about just trying to escape it to go back to his normal life, prove his innocence, basically.
There are those out there that are in that way, which are also great about being in the regular world. Tropes where you get caught off in some magical, fantastical world. Like another one I love is Rising of the Shield Hero. Another great one. First season is amazing.
I had
Second
to drop
season,
that.
They did lose their way.
Yeah.
Third season, they came back to the formula of the first season, far superior. So I'd say it goes, for me, first season as a 10, 5, and then back up to like an 8.5 for the third season. So I liked where they went, and I felt that there was more there, especially because people told me like the light novels. I don't know what they're doing with the second season adaptation. And they kind of did what they did with season 5 of My Hero Academia. They had the right idea, but they tried to freestyle the idea of what to do with it instead of following the damn source material that you already have and just follow the script. You have the script. The script is there. Listen, for everybody out there in the world who may hear this, spread this to those who might hear it and to those people I've met in Hollywood that know about this. If you are given a world-renowned anything that is already existing, it is not your job to try to somehow rearrange it to make your own spin on it. No, you can polish it, you can enhance it. Your job isn't to recreate what has already been recreated. This goes for the people that made the movies for Percy Jackson, and I will never forgive you for those. Oh my God,
I know. Why didn't they just copy the freaking book? That was perfect.
You have a best-selling #1 series, which I have a bit more about Percy Jackson. The TV shows, thankfully, are retroactively making things better. So I appreciate that. And the movies, for those that love the movies, like my son, who nobody's perfect, I can forgive. You can have those. Just never tell me they're not even bad because I like the characters in them. But you can't give me that and tell me that it's Percy Jackson. Had you told me it was anything else, just a regular show they put together, cool, it's fun, it's fresh, whatever. When you say it's Percy Jackson and none of it fits, then no, you just took the name.
No, that's why I like the Death Note movie. Just pretend like it isn't Death Note, and it's a good movie. It's fun.
Exactly. So if you wanted to take, what I said is this, is that while there's the MCU out there, which I'm also an MCU fan, unlike a lot of people recently, the Percy Jackson universe is so expansive, it could rival already what the MCU has. And had it been done in movies that you could have expanded on and all the different pantheons of gods and all the different cultures you get to touch, it could have been a world-reaching new franchise that Disney could have had in a chokehold and just been beating the world over the head with it. Because it covers everything that you could want with snarky kids and superpowers. What else could you really like? If you like it, you like it. And so that's the pain that I live with. But the TV shows are soothing my heart. That's been stabbed by those movies for like a decade. So I feel better. I feel better now.
Now, with isekai, going back to that, I will say anime to where the isekai with the main character either having a bad life that they just don't care, like they're boring, they're sick of it, and they just go to a different new insane world to where the stronger have a harem or whatever that they didn't have in their old life. I don't like that. Or even isekai to where they either give up on returning too soon, maybe if they wanted to in the first episode, but then by the end of the first episode, they're like, oh, I'm gonna live here now with all these new characters I'm gonna meet and be friends with. Or if we just never get their backstory at all, which also indicates that they don't care either way. So Shield Hero did that in episode 1, or like the first couple episodes. I think I watched the first 2 or 3. I dropped that. ReZero, as well as Overlord with Bone Daddy, they both just sort of gave up, if not on episode 1, then like pretty much immediately. Have those at 103 out of 112 on my list, and let's see, where's Overlord? 108 out of 112. So I hate both of them with a passion.
Just to pause about both of those, Rising of the Shield Hero is still about him finding a way home. The whole point is the only way they know to get home possibly is to defeat the waves, which is vague because they don't give them any information, which you then find out later on by end of season 2 into 3. You find out why it was so vague and shit seems so weird for the Shield Hero compared to everybody else.
I just don't like it.
Don't want to spoil that. But it was there. But I will say it does take 3 seasons to get to that payoff.
Exactly.
But I blame whoever directed season 2 because they fucked that up. Because that's all the way in there that his goal is to still get away. But while he's here, he's going to make the best of things until he gets back home.
Just like in Sword Art Online. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say, and for Overlord, he wants to get back home. He doesn't know how. Because he
just gives up on it. He's like, oh, I just can't figure it out. Oh, well. There goes my old life.
I mean, ideally,
it's done.
You woke up, you were playing a video game that now suddenly is your life, and you don't have a way to log out. You can't change anything. So it's like, cool, until I can figure that out. Also, they kind of did say that he was kind of being shifted into his character, and his personality was shifting, which he didn't realize, but they gave bits of that in the beginning. That suddenly certain things didn't seem cool to him, like he didn't find characters arousing anymore because he was undead, so he doesn't have a reason for that, which is funny that characters find him attractive as a large skeleton, but I'm not gonna kink shame anybody out there. That you have what you have.
That's
so
just nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. Just like freaking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, also unwatchable for me. It's like that's anti-story. It's like change is natural instead of something they have to earn. There's no consequences in isekai. It's the worst. So his personality just adapts to his video game character. Then what's the freaking point of having his character in the first place? It's not an isekai. It's not an anime. It's not a story. It is the video game. You're just not playing it.
I can agree with that a lot. Again, for me, you have to have quality characters. Like for me, Endeavor is one of my favorite characters, and Bakugo from My Hero Academia, for different reasons, because they are who they are. And while they grow, they don't change the fundamental person that they are because that's who they are. They become better. They become more understanding. They show compassion. They show understanding of that compassion and empathy. But they are who they are. They're still that shitty person that you met from the first episode and first time you saw them. That's still there. At no point are they ever not that person. And those types of things that I like, where I can see where you've grown, but you're still the person that likes fart jokes. That didn't change. You didn't suddenly become sophisticated. You became a nicer person and you don't fart everywhere, but you like fart jokes still. I get it. There's a balance there. So that's what I look for in most of my anime now, is I need as a guy who's a forever DM for D&D games and campaigns, I need compelling character-driven stories. If you don't have that, it's a hard sell to get me to like your anime, no matter what it is.
Exactly. Just like out of high school. It's just pretty.
Good point.
On this, the only thing I'll say on this is, have you seen Martial Magic and Muscles? Because I know Adonis has.
I have not, honestly. Martial, from the few episodes, it wasn't something that was high on my list. I'll eventually watch it, but it wasn't anything that excited me.
Okay. I was going to say that there's also a very similar Neji-like fight in that I was going to make a comparison to, but if you haven't seen it, then it doesn't matter.
I will remember that from when I do watch it, though.
All right, fair enough. So, okay, just transforming the conversation into a different way. They have a word for that. It's called a segue. Don't know why I didn't just say that, but... Anyways. I don't have a perfect segue from this to anything else. Honestly, Kamui, if we, listen. We have too much to say on Boruto. It's gonna take too long. We might just need to make that a second stream with Ace at some point. Assuming Ace, you're cool coming back, but...
Of course, of course. I'm sure I can find time to make that, especially if it's late at night. I'm a night owl.
Yeah. I'm not saying we have to end right now. I'm just saying, with all the other topics we could talk about, I feel like Boruto is just too long. 4 5
I will say
hours.
that.
I mean, what I will say is I'm still planning on eating one more meal that I haven't even started to make. So I was up until 9 a.m. last night, so I'm not really tired.
I think at least for this stream, the perfect topic to bring it full circle would be going back to just general anime discussion, going back to like my list here.
Or we could talk about JJK and what we don't like.
JJK as well. Good segue. Well, okay. If you find a segue for that, we can. I had a couple other things I wanted to ask just based on a couple things that Ace has said throughout the stream.
Go ahead. Yeah, start with that.
You said that you liked playing sports a lot. Have you seen any sports anime?
Myself?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, which ones?
Oh, yeah. I would say actually 2 of my top ones are in the same sport but different. IQ, of course, ridiculously great. Enjoy it a lot.
Number 76.
One of the only anime that had me actually literally screaming at the screen is if I was watching a live game and I had to be like, you know what? I might have gone a little too far. I might need to take a breather. I'm stressing out like season 3. If you know, you know. I was in the back. I was there in the dirt against the Eagles, and one of my nicknames is Eagle. I felt like a traitor. I was like, I'm with the Crows, though, bro. I'm with the Crows. Another one is Aowashi.
On my, I haven't seen that. I want to clarify. So Haikyuu on my list, it's 76. It's not because it's bad or because it's mid or whatever. It's because I've seen only like 5 episodes. Like, not because I dropped it. It's on hiatus. Like, it was cool. Like, it's a compliment, if anything. 5 episodes alone was enough to elevate it to 76 on my list. So it is good from what I've seen. I just haven't seen enough to rank it higher. So I need to get back to that.
I definitely believe that it will end up much higher, especially if you get through the seasons, because season 3 is one that season 3 is another one of those that's a perfect season. So the whole thing isn't perfect, because sometimes it could pace a little bit better or spend a little less time trying to re-explain something for goddamn volleyball. But once you get to season 3, I mean, from the intro alone, it'll get you hyped. But the whole thing will get you hyped, because things don't go the way you think in Haikyuu, and I appreciate that. Failure. There is no, we're the main characters, we're going to continue to win. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. You learn really quick that they are not the best, and they take those L's, they take them hard. And I appreciate an anime, especially in sports, that doesn't give you the win. Other one is Aowashi, which, as I kind of said for most people, Haikyuu is more hype, Aowashi is a bit more calm pace, but the storytelling, as it's more realistic and set in the pro world, hits different. It gives you almost a continuation, but different retrospect. Watching that alongside, because it's soccer based versus volleyball, but it gives the same vibes for the most part. I want to say the same studio did both. I could be wrong about that, but I think same studio did both of those, because it has those moments. It has those moments that'll give you the tingles where you get excited like you're watching a real game. It does that. Hajime no Ippo, by far. Also one of my favorite games. If you ever get the chance to play that game from PlayStation, it has probably some of the most realist physics you can play in a boxing game. Like when you hit somebody, because I did a little boxing as a kid, so when you hit somebody just right and you catch them in their motion and it staggers them, you can feel the weight of the punch. As they say in anime, you can feel the heaviness of it, and you can feel it in that video game, and that anime portrays it in the best of ways. Kind of following a Naruto that's kind of meeting a Sasuke also, and a different vibe, but a raw talent versus a prodigy for the most part is the main characters.
Ippo is so freaking good. It's 20 on my list. I'll say for sports anime, this could be subjective, but I personally think, I'm not like completely solidified on this, but I personally, as of right now, think sports anime are probably the easiest genre to get invested in, as opposed to isekai, which is by far the least good genre to get invested. It's almost like isekai. Not only is there no investment from the get-go, it's screaming in your face, don't get invested in this story. Specifically, do not. There is no investment. If you do investment, you're doing it wrong. So it's like sports anime, is you just do get invested in, like from the very get-go.
I would say
Well, I
that's
think that is only
that's
true
more
for people who
subjective,
like
though.
sports. People who don't
Yeah.
like sports probably
Oh,
aren't going to get
yeah.
that.
I was going to
That's
say
fair.
people that really like people who really don't like sports, the sports aspect, because that's what it mainly is. Again, like I tell most people, the anime that you want to watch is going to mimic and mirror the type of shows that you like.
Yeah.
So if you like superhero shows, you're going to like shonen superhero ass battles. If you like watching sports and all that, sports anime in that vein can be cool for you. Sometimes it might be a little too unrealistic. Like, I know a guy who can't watch Kuroko no basketball because it's too fantastical in what it allows some people to do,
That's fair.
which is understandable.
Same
Which
with
I was
Demon
like,
Slayer.
understandable if you play, right? If you play basketball, you actually do real sword fighting. Some of that you're like, that's some bullshit. I'm not gonna see that. I would say another. I had one more that I'm trying to think of that's escaping me at the moment. That's a sports anime that I enjoyed.
Prince of
It is
Tennis?
throwing me off that I can't remember.
Oh, I was thinking
Ah,
Fantastical.
no.
Yeah, they
Prince of
compared to
Tennis
like
is,
Dragon Ball
I was gonna
Z.
say Prince of Tennis is okay.
That's what
I
I
was
was
gonna say
going
Prince
with.
of Tennis is kind of okay. Not really the one for me. I'm trying to think. It's
So for me,
God. This won't come
Well,
to
it
me.
must
While
be
you're
L
thinking.
versus Light, the tennis match. You know,
You're
that
crazy.
anime.
I mean, that is an excellent anime moment where they both were like, you know, I'm kind of all right at this, and then they're both pro level players. Like,
yeah.
oh, so you were full of shit too. Okay, all right.
So two different anime. My best and worst sports anime at number 3 on my list of best anime of all time. Number 3. That's freaking incredible,
Haikyuu.
life-changing
Rock Lee
anime.
SC up there. I love that.
Mhm.
So iShield 21, third best anime of all time that I've seen. This is the football anime, and by the time I watched this, I was currently watching football, not done with football yet, currently watching football. So like my investment was just there from the get-go. It's probably why it's number 3.
Gotcha.
But even then, incredible, literally life-changing. Like this might be the only anime to where I could not lay down watching this. I was like standing up, jumping, and screaming watching it like it was an actual football match. It was so good. I was that invested. I
I'll
literally
say
couldn't.
Haikyuu
I
can
tried.
get you
I
that
couldn't.
same-
Oodie, can you actually send me a link to your list again? I just want to like scroll through it.
Sure, yeah.
I was gonna say I think Haikyuu is actually gonna be the same way for you because it has that level of you get invested in the matches because you get invested with the characters,
Put this in chat.
and it also does a good job of not only telling you about the main characters in his team, but about the other teams. So you get invested in their stories too, and it does a good job of bringing you along so you understand the weight of the moment for everybody involved. Where at times you'll find yourself cheering for the other team and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with me? No, go,
That's hilarious.
Karasuno. What the fuck is wrong with me? Stop this, stop."
Yeah.
But it's just like a real sports game. You'll see the other team make a great play, and you're like, that was good. That was good. I hate it, but that was good. That was really good. Why can't my team do that?"
I will quickly mention that music is literally the reason I got into anime in the first place. When I was 3, watching Naruto, I didn't care about Naruto. I cared about the music. That's the only reason why I watched Naruto in the first place. How I got invested in the story when I was watching Cartoon Network in 2001. Freaking Haku Files for legendary, the music there. But okay, well, I guess if we want to go back to sports anime, unless we had more to say in the comments on it. No, maybe no. Okay, back to
Well,
music.
I haven't seen sports anime, so it's not much I can say.
All right, I'll make it brief then. So, because you're right, I know you haven't. So, I don't, anyways, with iShield 21, it's not even the music of the show exactly. It's more so the openings and endings, bro. I feel that in my heart, my soul. I love it, bro. It's like vibrate.
I mean,
inside
good
of me.
music can elevate an episode or elevate an actual
bro.
entire series. So
Especially
I'm big
that
on
point in
sound
my life.
design because I need to hear it sound right.
Yes. Ippo didn't have the best music, but that just proves how good it is, considering how high it is anyways. As opposed to that, Megalobox, it would be like in the 70s, if not 80s, based on season 1. Season 2 is, I think, the best season of anything I've ever watched ever, which elevates it to freaking number 5 on my list of best anime of all time, just based on season 2 alone.
Interesting, because just from the look of it, I didn't have any interest in Megalobox, and I enjoy boxing.
I get that. No, I get that. So, okay, that's the funny thing with Ippo, really quick, going back to that. It's not that I didn't have any interest in boxing. Well, I didn't have any interest in it, but I wasn't disinterested in it. It's the same as like anything else, I guess. It's normal for me. It's just a normal thing.
Right.
Watching Ippo, I was completely sold on it. I wanted to box. I went to a boxing gym. Would have cost me like $300 a month, so I never started. The money disinterested me. Ippo completely sold me. I was full force into boxing at that moment. I was like, let's go, bro.
You know what? I can feel that. Look, you can get yourself a pair of boxing gloves for like $20. You can do all the practicing with them you need. Feels just
Facts,
the
bro.
same.
Cats in the leaves. Gotta start there. Anyways, with Megalobox, I'll give you season 1 again. Not the best. It's like 80 on my list. What I like about Megalobox is, first of all, the main theme, I'll give it the one song, is pretty good at immersing you. It's not a song that you listen to on its own, like a standalone, but it's freaking hype. Like, it's a good pre-workout song, or even a workout song. It's just good for what it does. Just like Mob Psycho. I don't like the music, but it perfectly fits the show. So, unlike Attack on Titan or Naruto, which I feel like you can listen to on its own, is just as good. Same with The Promised Neverland. I think the music in the show really fits, but outside of it doesn't really fit. Promised Neverland's a little bit different, to where it has like 1 or 2 really the best songs ever, and the rest of it just mediocre. So, yeah.
Which is what I like, the growth, but I also like any story that has great character growth. So if your characters grow from episode 1 through episode 12 and beyond, I'm going to be invested because I need to see that type of growth and how they become better. If they're the same, still stagnant ass people, it's one of the reasons why Dragon Ball Z used to get on my nerves, and I liked Vegeta more than Goku, because Vegeta grew as a person, whereas Goku, fucking the same person that we saw from the first episode, same absent-minded ass guy, far more skilled and deadly, but the same absent-minded guy who can't drive a car.
Well, with Goku is the same character arc as Naruto. They're the same character type, to where the point is that they don't change. Rather, their change comes in the world around them, just as Naruto.
Very much so.
It's that they
but
reject
I also
change.
don't like I also don't like characters who have incompetence in ways that they shouldn't. Like simple things of Goku having a day of trying to be a normal human. It feels odd that Goku has been a father this entire time and he's never been a normal human. A day in his life that he can't do normal shit. But that's also part of the funny of it, is trying to make Superman go grocery shopping. I get it. For me, it's just something that doesn't excite me about a story, because it's like their basicness should be there, so I'm not too amped about that.
Well, the thing about that's not even in the story, though, right? Like, that's not in any main centerfold part of any arc. That's just like side filler things for fun, just comedic aspects. So it doesn't really matter. It's not in the story.
That as a filler, I was gonna say, even for my fillers, I expect my fillers to have better quality than that, because I expect them to have something to do of a different nature. But I also just expect more from a filler. I can understand you're not advancing the story, but the story that you're telling needs to be investing in some way to what's already been established.
But again, Dragon Ball is serious at times, but it's at its core, it's not a serious show. Is it in the comedy genre, or would it be some other genre that includes comedy? Either way, it's entertainment genre. So I feel like those fillers do its job of being what it's supposed to be. Because I feel like that's why the audience should be there to watch it.
It's a definitive shonen by shonen standards, so that is the best of what it has.
But again, Dragon Ball at its core, not even Z, just Dragon Ball, is like a comedy series. Just like The Boys.
I mean, it's because
like The Boys, you can technically say it's a superhero genre, not a comedy genre. But like, it's comedy. It's like South Park. It's not an animation genre.
Superheroes are just like saying anime. It's just a modifier for what it is. It's not the actual story. So superhero isn't the story. It's a superhero thriller. It's a superhero horror. It's a superhero action flick.
Exactly.
It's a superhero romance. It's just a modifier term. Same thing I say with anime. So when people are like, I don't watch anime. So you're trying to say you don't watch any form of entertainment at all? Well, like reality shows, there's an anime for that. I watch sports. There's plenty of anime for that. I just want to see somebody throw hands. There's a whole genre designed for just eager, enthusiastic, horny. Well, I won't say horny, but oftentimes horny because the fan service little boys. It's all there.
All right. Well, I think what you're describing is basically going back to my idea, conceptually wise, of main character versus protagonist, to where the superhero aspect is what it revolves around rather than what it's about.
Correct.
Yeah.
I can definitely. There's a lot of genres that work that way, but superhero ones can definitely be that way. Where I would consider, arguably, the MCU as a whole is just a superhero genre with movies of different shows of different types that then somehow elevate one main character to be the main character of their own little mini arc or their own little movie before going back into the whole overall arc that they have. It's just the current arc is a longer one, and people are highly impatient because if they don't understand it immediately, they think there's not a plan, and they lack zero patience as if there hasn't been 15 years of evidence that this is planned out like a decade in advance. You just have to wait or let them not tell you everything at once or tell you their full 7-year plan of how the shows are going to go and what they mean. Because me personally, I'm quite frustrated with the friends I've had. It's like, yeah, I'm burnt out on the superheroes and blah, blah, blah. Cool, that's fine. Yeah, there's new arcs, since the Endgame, it doesn't make sense. That's where I draw the issue because that means you don't understand the storytelling, which is different than it doesn't make any sense. Makes perfect sense. You can line it all up. It's narratively in order. It's just not linear in order, which is okay. It's a different way to tell the story. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. And just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it's bad. People didn't understand the first 3 episodes of WandaVision, and then it won awards because it wasn't bad. You just didn't get it at first because you needed to see all of it for it to make sense. And when you saw it all, you're like, oh, now I get what they were doing because it makes sense now because you saw the whole thing. You didn't read 2 pages and were like, this story didn't make any sense. They didn't even explain the main character, my guy. I don't know what else to tell you. End of rant.
Yeah, I get that. Couple more things I want to say before we end here, since we're pretty much wrapping up. Is okay. Couple more side things. I don't necessarily need to address this. Just things I have out of my mind. Well, I got them on my mind. So the last nitpick I had, because I never finished the Promised Neverland nitpick, was the fact that Emma wasn't going to defeat the mom at that moment. She was using her mind, her greatest weapon, and just having her physical body be the extension of that. The purpose wasn't to defeat the mom.
Okay, real quick. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
The whole time, just figured it out. I thought you were talking about the Friday the 13th, about the whole mind and the mom thing. And you were talking about Promised Neverland.
So stupid.
I was like, damn, I didn't realize that's what that movie was.
I mean, in a way, you can make the same argument just to an infinitely less degree, but yeah, kind of works slightly there. But yeah, with this, the point wasn't to defeat the mom; it was to do their plan for Norman to get the rope and for Emma to stall and just to allow Norman to get up there and blah blah blah. That's their mind tactical strategy thing that they were using their bodies to do.
Very much so. I agree with that.
Okay. That's just that. So, okay. Freaking anime of sports. Megalobox into the best thing ever. Okay, did that. Worst sports anime. I think it's called All Out. Yeah, All Out. Worst sports anime of all time. It's rugby, I think. It's like 1 season, 12 episodes. It was a fun watch. Objectively terrible. So there you go. There's like no good characters. They have like slightly decent moments compared to the awfulness of the rest of the show. And it's like there's no superpowers, no good animation, no good music. There's nothing there. It's not the worst thing of all time. It's just unwatchable. Still above all these others on the list. Yeah. Then we got like a couple other sports animes. Like Demon Slayer is like fantastical. Same with Kuroko no Basket. That's number 10 on my list. Kuroko no Basket, freaking good anime there. I love that basketball anime. The soccer one, I need to watch it since I played soccer as well. But like more grounded anime, since I know you were mentioning that. So okay, first of all, Megalobox, I would say, is grounded. Unlike something like Demon Slayer, to where they have superhuman bodies, Megalobox has normal bodies. It's almost like a mecha anime, but if mecha also was realistic, to where they don't have full-on suits. They just have like...
It's just exoskeletons.
It's almost like scientific ninja tech incorporated into boxing, if scientific ninja tech was just less advanced than it is in Boruto. It's just like giving their
I saw the premise for it, and it's something I put on my one day I'll check it out list. It
Okay.
just didn't go to the top of my boards.
That's
And
fair.
for me, as a guy who did boxing, if it doesn't go to the top of my boards, I'm like, eventually I'll watch it. This is what I call my rainy day pile. Whenever I'm bored and don't have something immediately to watch, I'll probably pop in
Yeah.
one of those and can get it. But that's why I did find some of my favorite ones, like Infinite Dendrogam, which is another great one season anime that I'm sad they don't have more of, but that's fine. Damn animators.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, season 2 of Megalobox, I think any good sports anime, if it's the best, it can do this story. It's not even about boxing at that point. That's how good the story is. It's transcended boxing to where it's just it's an afterthought, if anything. So there, it's just not the main point. It's how good the story is. But then you have just for reference for Kamui, so Megalobox, the augmentation of the scientific. Just imagine if they just had a sport in real life. Like every sport in real life is the exact same way it is. They just added a new one to where steroids are allowed and like brass knuckles are allowed and like any other thing you can think of that'll augment your body, whether it's like a sling around your arm or just something ridiculous. They're just all allowed in this megalo boxing sport. So that's what Megalobox is. And the main character refuses to use any of it, which is cool. But yeah. Anyway, so like a more grounded anime that's like a sports anime kind of would be something along the lines of Dororo. I think it's Is it Dororo? What is it?
Yeah, I've heard of Dororo.
Yeah, Dororo. Dororo's not a sports anime, but it has that it's like the grounded swords anime compared to Demon Slayer. It has sword fighting. It's cool in that. It's not even grounded because they have like puppet bodies like sorcery and stuff. Like it's still cool. They got demons and stuff. Also the other swords anime. I was just looking at it earlier. Blade of the Immortal. To be fair, it has an immortal person as well as like other Japanese mythology aspects. But it's like a grounded swords anime for anyone that wants it and is interested in that kind of stuff. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about, since it's something you brought up earlier, is the tight-knitness of anime recently compared to old. I would generally agree, but like in the opposite regard, which means I don't agree at all. So, okay, but there's a different aspect to this. So where I think it transcends time to where it really just depends on the author, because you have some stories now that are tight-knit. You have some stories in the past that are tight-knit, but then you also have some stories now and in the past that are just not. So there's definitely like, I wouldn't say it's about the author, not about the time period, but it to some extent is about the time period, because I feel like older anime, it's actually exact opposite of what you're explaining, to where this was before anime was established as not a genre, but like, it's like less mainstream at this point, to where it's stories being told through the medium of animation that aren't relying on animation. And they just so happen to be using it. So they do feel more like screenplays that could be told universally through any structure, even if they use some anime elements. Good example of this, a really good screenplay, would be Blue Submarine number 6. This is a really old one, but it's like 6 episodes long. It's like so in your face of what it's trying to be that it's almost extreme in how goofy it is in that regard, but definitely that one I would say. You have Elfen Lied is always my number one example go-to, to where even though it's a story about like freaking naked people pretty much all the time, and it's freaking has the fantastical elements of it that anime would have, of superpowers basically, but it feels like it has that connective through line that's just always there, to where it's removing absolutely everything that it doesn't need, especially in the very finale of it. It ends at like the most incredible moment for like ending a story in this regard. You also have Zonkyo no Terror, Terror in Resonance. I feel like that's very screenplay writing element oriented, as well as the first arc of Naruto. I feel like Land of Waves just feels like a screenplay.
Land of Waves, I wouldn't put in there. I'll say this. I'm not saying that all new anime are better than the older ones in their pacing. I'm saying that it's trending towards better pacing anime, because a lot of anime understand that their filler will sink their anime.
But that's the thing. I feel like old anime doesn't even have filler. It wasn't even a concept. They just
Oh,
told their story and they got
old
out as soon
anime
as possible.
has filler.
Some of them do. The ones I mentioned in particular, they're telling. It's almost like a movie, just an extended movie
I was
over the
gonna
course
say
of like 6 to 12
it,
episodes.
I mean, it can be spread out in that way, but almost all older anime on a general basis has filler, especially from the 90s. There's only a few key ones I could think of that didn't have filler that was thrown in there for whatever reason, because back in the day in that industry, it was a very versatile industry. You may or may not be able to do something, especially if it was coming stateside. A lot of it was, are we getting something to do this week? We are. We'll find out tomorrow. We'll get 2 days to do it. Okay, we'll have to figure out how to get the whole goddamn thing dubbed in 2 days. So we'll get everybody in here tomorrow. Best we can, it'll be 24 hours, which did come out with one of my favorite actual dubbed animes in Cowboy Bebop. But that's just the way that sometimes it went for them back then. And Cowboy Bebop,
exactly.
arguably, while it has a lot of quality for it, Cowboy Bebop only has about 5 or 6 actual episodes of story. Most of it is
I
just
agree.
sitcom filler episodes. But it is still one of my favorite to watch because of that element. It's just watching characters interact in that world, and it tells a viable story of them interacting and following the rules of that world that have already been preset. A lot of older shows have more of that. Even some of my favorites, like Kenichi, The World's Strongest Disciple, love it, but it also has its filler episodes that aren't needed in there, that don't do anything to progress the story or really the characters, which are just like, we need something to do for this episode till we can get back to the story next week. So we're going to throw in this, we're going to just throw this in here. We're just going to make something work for now, and then we'll work it out later how it actually worked out.
So I get what you're saying. Have you seen any of the
Mhm.
anime I listed?
Some of the ones you listed, let me see. I've seen parts of them, but I haven't seen all of them.
Well, the
I
ones that
haven't
I'm
seen
listing
Blue
in this
Submarine. I have seen some
regard.
of Elfen Lied.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of the ones you pointed out, I've seen parts of, but I haven't actually watched.
Okay.
So I
Because
can't say that they don't or do not in either way.
I'm talking about, so I am talking about more of like a trend in a direction rather than, because I don't want to just point to Cowboy Bebop and be like, oh, that's an example of the anime at the time. So I feel like I don't want to call it an exception to the rule, but like, cause we freaking said that a million times this stream, but it kind of is in this regard. At least the anime I listed, I feel like are more of a representation of the anime of the time. The pacing in particular is what I'm mostly pointing out in terms of the writing. Because, especially at this time period, first of all, anime is not established, so they're having to rely on other media to look back to in order to make these, basically. But also the fact that anime is not safe. Like, Demon Slayer can exist to do whatever it wants because it knows people are going to watch it. Because it already is what it is, the behemoth it is. At this time, I'm not going to say anime was more risky, but like, it's more experimental.
It wasn't as far as established.
Exactly,
Which is
exactly.
fair.
So,
but with that being said, there's still a lot of them that didn't hit that, which is why, comparatively, some of those anime, even to this day, don't work out. Things like Yu Yu Hakusho, legendary, but Yu Yu has a lot of goddamn filler. Trigun, another one. Vash Stampede has filler.
yeah, I haven't seen
Outlaw
those.
Star was one I remember from back in the day. Ronin Kenshin was one big because it was about samurais, and it's like, cool. He was a samurai who wouldn't kill, which was an amazing concept because he was known as the man killer. And he was like, "No, I'm done just killing people." And of course, that meant everybody and their mama wanted to come fight him. And it's like, bro, like let this man just live. Sailor Moon, which I used to watch every day before Dragon Ball Z, filler. Pokemon is all filler.
Okay, well. Pokemon, I feel like that's not even an anime at that point.
I mean, Pokemon is like the top selling anime of all time.
It's considered anime. I don't consider it anime.
Understandable. Even one of my favorites, Tenchi Muyo, has a good amount of anime. Neon Genesis Evangelion, even though it's a pretty straightforward and dark show, it has its filler episodes in there also, unfortunately.
So maybe
I'll say that it was more of a thing where it sprinkled around. But I can point to more anime now that don't have heavy filler or have tight stories with better pacing than back then, where sometimes the story meandered for an episode or two before it kind of got pulled back into line of where it needed to be.
I don't know. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just my screenwriter intuition just found all of the best shows that only do this and none of what you're talking about, because I didn't watch any of those anime you just listed.
I was going to say a lot of those, it can be subjective, because if those are the stories
Sure.
you go to, then finding those will work out. Looking over a variety of them just by comparison, the ones that I found and checked out didn't fit that bill, even though I still love them. They just, compared to the ones that I love now, the filler is evident. As much as I tell people that Cowboy Bebop is a great entry for anyone wanting to check out an anime, because it doesn't require you to do much other than watch the characters on the screen and understand what happens in that one episode, it still is a lot of filler that doesn't tell a full story past about 5 or 6 episodes. Now, those 5 or 6 episodes are fucking incredible. And Vicious is also one of my favorite villains of all time. In a world of guns, he uses swords. He uses a sword, and he still is the man with that sword and makes it work. I can respect a villain with moral standing who decides they're going to go about it a different way, and the hero saying, "No, I don't use swords. I'm using guns. I'm going to shoot the hell out of you for that."
Mm-hmm.
I can respect those differences, but there's just that difference where there are episodes where it's really nothing happening, nothing moving. From a writing perspective, the story is stagnant. The things that we have found out about the characters are just kind of pushed to the wayside until the next time the story beats actually come up to be used, which can be cool if it's intentional, but even the intentional ones would have something in those episodes that are connecting to other things. And it's just not there. And the pacing was a bit slower with older anime compared to some of the faster paced anime
I completely
now.
disagree with that. So, okay, maybe this is just my personal perspective, anecdotal, I don't know, however you want to word it, but just from the older anime I've seen, especially considering like the production value isn't there as well. They don't have good animation, good music, good voice acting, good anything really. So they sort of have to fall back, rely on the only thing they can have, in this case, the writing, the story. And so going back to that, also the fact that, again, like I don't want to say anime is a genre, but like the stories being told are written for a certain type of audience because they sort of have to be from the get-go. That's how you even start to write an anime. You write a story, then it just becomes anime. Unlike something like Demon Slayer or Dr. Stone, which has these silly, goofy, chibi epilogue moments, same with Black Clover, and they're more so like universal, safe anime made for anyone because the anime is already established, to where they can just, again, do whatever they want. Unlike something like even like a Cowboy Bebop, which still feels more mature, like it's made for a certain audience, not for like the anime shonen genre or anything like that. For people that would watch normal TV.
Say it was still made for that. As someone who grew up through that, it was still made for that back at that time. That's what it was targeted to. Ideally, mostly boys, but thankfully a lot of women I know now have also were into it. Then I was like, I didn't even know you existed. But those things were targeted to the same audience as they are now. The difference is just now it's more accessible because of streaming, where before you had to buy VHS tapes if you want to see it. Or at a certain point, you can get it on DVD, or you can go rent it from a video rental store. But now it's accessible where you can just pay to watch it online when you want to. Whereas back then you had to wait. But I think Dragon Ball Z used to come out like once every month, every other month for the English dubs. Can't fully remember, but I used to remember going to the mall with my friend. We'd spend $30. He'd buy the new tape, and we'd go home and watch the episodes, then rewind it and watch the episodes again, and then talk about the 10 minutes of actual information that happened in the 2 30-minute episodes.
Yeah. I
But
feel like
that was
that's
Dragon Ball Z.
comparing the community is almost like an outside factor anyways. Like you wouldn't take that external factor to compare. Even if you did want to compare, you compare the ratios at the time rather than the quantity itself, because that's obviously it's more accessible over time. But I just feel like even something as goofy, silly as Cowboy Bebop, it still feels like it's made for people who would just watch any other TV show. Whereas anime that are specifically anime from the get-go, like a Demon Slayer or Dr. Stone, it feels like they're more so trying to be different. Like they're trying to fit in as anime rather than as other TV shows.
I would say they're just telling a different type of story with the freedom to tell it, whether it wins or not. They're just telling their story, which is what I prefer for anything is whatever type of story you want to tell it. And if people like it, they resonate with it, that's fine. If they don't, then that just wasn't a story that resonated with people. As long as, because there's a lot of different genres of different shows out there that I don't lock with, but I don't ever
Yeah.
say that those things are bad. I just say they're not for me. Like
Yeah.
the newest Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, the newest Star Wars movies. While I don't like them because I like the version of the books better, which I thought would have been a better arc of another 9 movies. I have friends who are bigger into Star Wars than I have as an older friend who got into it from those movies. They cosplay, they have podcasts, they've been on the official Star Wars podcast. They do all the things that I am not even as invested in because they became that deeply invested because those movies spoke to them and brought them into the fandom. So I can't say those movies are bad. I can say that they don't speak to me because those aren't the type of Star Wars movies I look to. But I was a prequel guy. I enjoyed the prequels the most out of all of them because I thought those in general were more entertaining to me than the originals or in the new series. But I know other people that swear by the original series and everything after that is just unacceptable for Star Wars. And I know other people who don't watch the movies at all, but they like the TV shows, which seems an odd way to go that you've never seen the movies, but you watch the TV shows for the series that they're based on. But that's just, it depends on what speaks to those people. And nowadays, I think there are more things that can speak to more people. And I think with more of the idea that it is such a saturated market where everything is available, you don't have VHS stores that are ordering Cowboy Bebop 2 months in advance. So you know that you have those orders to fill out. You have that you can put out an anime and you hope that it is popular enough to gain traction and become viral. You hope that you get a elusive samurai or Wistoria sword and wand.
Yeah.
Or you hope you get a kaiju number 8. If you mess around and get a hell, I loved Akudama Drive, but Akudama Drive didn't get that push. But everybody I know that's seen Akudama Drive is like, why didn't I know this existed years ago? I was like, I don't know. It just wasn't pushed in the same way. It was the same quality story it is now, but people loved it, but they didn't know about it, so it didn't get that same type of love. The market now is you can put it out, even if it's hyped up like Solo Leveling, because its manga is so amazing. Everybody understood that Solo Leveling Season 1 is basically just the precursor for setting the world. Didn't even get into the main conflicts that happen. You just barely got to see the character learn some of his abilities, and he gets his main ability at the end of the first season. You haven't even done any of the cool shit that he can do yet. Like this version of the character is like Dragon Ball version of Goku with the power pole and the flying Nimbus before he gets any of the other Dragon Balls. It's so basic that it's not really even the character, it's the prequel version of the character that he really is. And even that's starting to show the person that he can become. But that one hasn't popped off as much, but it has shown promise because people know where it's supposed to go, so they're excited for that by comparison.
I feel like Dragon Ball conceptually started more as it was intended to be a cartoon. Then when Z came around, it more so morphed into an anime. That's how I feel. Like the shonen, it really put the young boys and the young in that genre if they're doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen Ghost in the Shell, but I feel like even that, as much superpowers as probably is in that show, it feels the same as Cowboy Bebop, to where it just has that more mature vibe than current anime. And I think Kamui can speak on this as well. Like even Death Note is more of an old anime, to where you can say some things are cartoons, some are anime, some are live action. There's just a difference in some, even if there's similarities in some as well.
I would say that kind of depends
in different ways.
To a degree. I would say it all just depends on the way it was. A lot of that was this pacing and things that were slower. The animation skills weren't as good to be able to showcase much. So it had to be slower pacing with most things. Or it had to be a lot of redoing of the same moves like Sailor Moon or Yu Hakusho, where they get the big established move the first time, and then you repeatedly show that move to save on animation costs because you don't want to have to reanimate new stuff every single time for the show, because wherever you can save some money doing that, it works out. And so while it has a lot of those good ones out there, and some of them are grounded, it also has a lot that are silly and chibi and not grounded, like Ranma and a Half, Samurai Pizza Cats, which I thought was probably one of the most hilarious shows they ever put out there. What's another one I was thinking about? It's one of the ones I like. Oh, I remember now. It's goddamn the Escaflowne, which is pretty cool. And all the Gundam series, which Gundams were more, even though it was animated, they went more like political drama most of the time. But even back then, they had the beat 'em up Gundams, which were more God of High School, like cool. The Earth is a wasteland. Countries have big ships all in space. They fight over who can get the world. They send down a Gundam champion. They fight it out wherever they find each other. That's it. That's the whole story. That's the whole story. We're following Japan. All right, that's the story then. That's what we're doing. Yep, just robot fights. That's all we got.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I mean, is it good? Entertaining enough to a degree, yes. And after a while, it gets tropey and stereotypy, and you're like, cool. The Mexican champion has a sombrero on his robot. That's all right. Okay, that it does nothing. It's just a hat. You just put on a hat. Okay, you get that sometimes. So I would say that it feels pacing wise, the trend is getting towards overall more consistent writing that's tighter. Not that all of it is because it's such a large market, but there's more quality works than there were before where pacing isn't the issue overall. But then again, pacing also can be a personal thing because while I enjoy the pacing of certain things like My Hero Academia, you might prefer the pacing more in like looking at the top land like Avatar, The Last Airbender,
Yeah.
by comparison. So I can see where the difference would be. I can say for me, it feels that the pacing of the types of shows that I like has gotten better, where it's much tighter writing overall compared to
Interesting.
more wandering writing without purpose.
Yeah, I think I do agree to where that might just be subjective, but I got the exact opposite standpoint. It could also be a thing of like the literal production value itself leads credence to the writers knowing what can be done, or the animators, producers, whatever, knowing which direction they can take the story in from the get-go. Like, I feel like Hunter x Hunter or something like The Promised Neverland or even Vinland Saga, something that has brighter, prettier, cleaner, more vibrant colors, can get away with doing more kiddish, goofy, lighthearted, innocent kind of stuff, even if they have the most intense gore of all time, like a Vinland Saga, as opposed to something that's just more flat, muted, again, like a Death Note, if we want to bring Kamui in the conversation. That said, like, I do think this is more of a trend than a absolute rule, because even The Promised Neverland, that's new-ish, in the new generation-ish, and it has these brighter colors, more goofy, childlike, innocent kid things, but it's, in my opinion, the number one written screenplay anime of all time, even compared to the old stuff. So, yeah. But Kamui, just compared on everything we said, with the only thing you've seen, Death Note, what are your thoughts? Kamui, we can't hear you if you're talking again.
Sorry, I was muted, but I was washing my hands and I couldn't unmute it. To be honest, I got to tune out for a minute.
Okay, well, we also went over 6 hours, which really sucks because now we can't cut the stream down. So, oh well. Unless they changed it.
You know,
Might as well make it an
sometimes
8-hour.
But oh well.
that would be great, except I work in a few hours, so I'm gonna have to call it a night so I can go
Okay,
take a
huh?
nap for work.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we appreciate you coming on, though, Ace, and we'd be happy to have you again. Everyone go check out Ace. His link's in the description below. I'll also put it in the chat. Ace, any final words you had for everyone watching?
Best thing I can say that, in the words of the great, great, great man known as Neck, every day is a great day when you watch an anime.
All right, sounds good. Thanks again for coming on. Hope we can do this again at some point soon.
Of course, see you guys
Definitely.
again later.
All right.
Yes. No, I'm still making food, so like I'm in no rush.
I would say, and I've loved the conversations, but I do have to work tomorrow. And I actually have an interview at work tomorrow in the afternoon, so I need to be able to be presentable for that.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah, you can
Of
go.
course,
You can go.
but I
Yeah.
had a blast with you guys, and I'll be glad to see y'all another time.
All right, thanks for coming on.
For sure.
And he's gone. All right, so back to my question, though, Kamui. Did you have anything to say in regards to that with Death Note? older anime feels different from newer anime.
Repeat.
That's basically it.
Well, I'm really not the right person to ask. It was like, well, I've seen I've seen one old one and then a couple of new ones.
Yeah, I mean, compare
One
that
of
old
them,
one to the new
I guess,
one. So what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with him? Was it more tight written? Is it because the
What did you
production
say?
value? Was it more mature? Is it written for a certain type of audience? Safe? Doing their own thing? Relying on the writing? A lot of things are said.
So the problem, though, is that my examples are obviously that they are different, but I don't. That's not necessarily indicative of the time. It's just these are such different series. So like, yeah, Death Note's gonna be a lot more heightened. It's a 37 episode show versus something, and it's written for a very different audience than like Boruto or something. So it's like not comparable.
Yeah, but even if Death Note
But-
has a
and while
fantastical
I-
element, it still feels grounded and matured. Like it's set in the real world, literally.
Well, it is, yeah,
Yeah,
and much more so. It has a much more real world feel to it.
exactly. I
But
feel like that's
for
a lot of the old
example,
anime.
Land of Waves Naruto is even older than that, and it doesn't have that. So,
But it still
I think that's
feels
just,
different from the rest of Naruto, in my opinion. That might be my hottest take on this aspect, but yeah.
well, it does in certain aspects, but it depends on what aspects you're trying to say specifically.
Feels like it's telling a self-contained story as quickly as possible and ending it when it needs to, just getting out when it needs to. Something like a Terror in Resonance or
Well-
Elfen Lied. But you haven't seen those.
So the problem is that while it could work in that regard, for the most part, I mean, maybe remove some of. Well, no, I don't think you have to remove the Hokage part. It works in that regard, but you also have to consider that this is essentially his pilot arc, and so it is
Yeah.
also written so that
Exactly,
If
establishing the
Shonen Jump
overarching theme.
doesn't
makes it different.
approve, at least the story will make sense ending there.
Well, I feel like also some of these
So
stories.
it is written probably with that in mind.
Exactly. Some of these older stories, like Dragon Ball, could have been written with the idea that they could have been axed at any point as well, which is why they were written in the way they were. Or at least if they were written short, this could be the reason why. They were only intended to have one season from the get-go. It's only supposed to be 6 or 11 episodes or whatever. So at that point, it doesn't matter. They
Yeah.
can
And
tell
then
their
once
story.
they got like, hey, you got like 8 years to finish the story now, it's like, okay, now we're gonna write with that in mind.
Yeah, now they can do whatever they want. They don't have to have the ending in sight, unlike an older anime, in my opinion, to where that's like the first thing you do. You know what you want to do. How are you going to get there within 11 episodes?
Yeah, the problem is I can't really speak on that because I don't
Yeah.
necessarily know if that. I mean, maybe a lot of those shorter ones happen to be older versus now. I bet I feel like that might just be the famous ones that were older versus there might be a lot of shorter ones now that just aren't famous that
I
we
mean, I
just
feel
don't
like
know about really.
Even then, a lot of the things I said applied. Like Death Note doesn't have the vibrance or pretty colors of Hunter x Hunter. It doesn't have the end of episode.
Well, that's also a That's
chibi
also
things.
Well, two things on that one is one, you're referring to the reboot of Hunter x Hunter, not the original one.
Well, again, that's a
Um,
perfect comparison.
and
You haven't
second-
seen it, but that's almost exactly my point. Same with Full Metal Alchemist. You haven't seen it
Yes,
as well,
and-
but you
and
still
I've
know the
seen
2008
what
versus
the
Brotherhood. It's the
designs
same
look
story,
like
but it's
to know the
different
point.
productions.
Yeah. I will also say though that with Hunter x Hunter, while of course the 1999 version versus 2011 still has the same point, it does do the alternating arc thing to where the darker arcs do feel and look visually darker, like York New Hunter Chimera Ants. Like it's just has darker colors, but compared to 1999, no. But that would again, I do think the newer stuff. I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of the newer stuff probably is with the cash grab, get the kids to watch your stuff
Exactly.
mindset
Yeah.
versus the story mindset. So I don't think Death Note
That's
was
the thing.
intended to get the 4-year-olds to buy the action figures. It's just the story that was written.
Yes.
Whereas
I wish
some
I
of the
brought that
newer
up.
stuff now probably is written with the intent that they're hopefully going to make $1 million off of their 300 chapter story.
Because
Like,
that's
which
another way
probably
of
is true.
wording it. That's sort of what I was trying to get at with one of the things I was saying. So I absolutely agree with that. I would say in regards to that, again, it falls back to
I
the
mean, look no
writing
further
and
than
it
the
being
whole
made for a certain
Naruto
audience.
point. That's not written to be a story. That's written to get money.
Exactly. So I would say in regards to this, I thought of it twice, but you made me go somewhere else with my thoughts. Okay. So this might be a hot take. I disagree with the study of, oh, people's mindset is becoming more like a goldfish. They tune out, their attention spans are lessening, blah, blah, blah. I think, regardless of statistics of some things might be true, it's executed or shown in a bad way, even if the statistics are true. I would say even though the accessibility has changed over time to where anime is more accessible, I would say people in the past were more nitpicky with what they watch than they are now. So I feel like now you can get away with, again, doing whatever you want in something like Demon Slayer. You can have those end of episode chibi nonsense filler things. Something in Death Note, you can't get away with that. That's inexcusable. You do that, people are going to start tuning out. Your audience isn't there for that. The earlier audience, if you don't tell the compelling story, you don't have animation, music, voice acting, anything else to rely on. If you don't tell that compelling story, you're going to lose your audience. And so I feel like it's more important, almost necessary, the only factor that even matters, arguably, in earlier anime, that you need that story. That's the only thing you really need. The rest of it's a substitute or just a way to tell the story. It's almost a storytelling device at that rate.
I do feel like there is an element of like the getting away with this and that aspect because, I mean, just look at Twitter. Like apparently Boruto can get away with nonsense and people are eating it up. So like
exactly, bro.
there probably
Like
is
you
some
couldn't
truth to
release
that.
Two Blue Vortex 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It would have been canned.
It just wouldn't, bro. It would have stopped at the pilot chapter.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like you can't
Oh,
do
like
that
it
in
would have
old
gone
anime.
past
Like I feel like if you watch more
Yeah.
old anime, you would get the idea. Even with Death Note, I feel like you can at least somewhat understand the idea just with the comparisons.
Yeah, like as I said, I just don't want to like make that a rule because that is the only one I've seen. So it's
Yeah.
like,
And again, I haven't seen
would
all
be
of them.
unfair.
Haven't seen Trigun or Sailor Moon or all the other ones he listed. So I can't say I've seen all of them to say I'm steadfast 100% right. Just seems to be the trend that I've noticed, having seen multiple of them.
and it's also possible that it really is just the user experience. It happened to be that way type of thing.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
even then,
I'm gonna
you don't
say
even
that.
have to do old anime compared to new anime. Compare the literal same anime with Hunter x Hunter, as you mentioned, the old Hunter x Hunter versus the new one. It's different, even though it's the same story. Same with Full Metal Alchemist. The new one is way less mature. It's more kiddish, like in the vibrant color aspect. Same exact things I said. The argument completely is there for the same story with this different production value. It's the same thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so
Proves
production
my point.
value is part especially with the newer stuff. I do think is a thing.
Yeah. Older anime, you can't get away
Of
with
course,
that.
I haven't actually watched the old version for Hunter x Hunter. I just have seen the designs to kind of get the sense of what it looks like.
Yeah. The older anime are more like movies, whereas current anime, it is purposefully more episodic.
Yeah. Well, I
The
mean,
storytelling, anyways.
old Pokemon wasn't like that, but I mean, I guess
I
that's
don't
also
count that as anime. It's a
Pokemon. So
cartoon. Just like early Dragon Ball is a cartoon.
I know that's like say it feels like it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem is all anime is a cartoon. That's
Yeah,
literally the point.
Japanese
It is
animation.
the same
Get
thing.
out of here with the nonsense. But anyways,
I mean, yeah.
okay. I'm so sad I can't cut this out. I was trying to end it under 6 hours. I saw 5 hours 30 minutes. I've been timing myself ever since. I checked, it was 6 hours 1 minute. I was like, oh, can't. It's too late now. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
Freaking knew that was gonna happen. Oh,
At this
you know
point,
what?
it doesn't really matter.
Bringing
so
it full
might as well just,
circle. Can you look at my screen?
I can't right now.
Ah, fine.
What do you?
And you have to look at my screen. I'm not even gonna say it. I'll instead pull up an email I got. Okay, from a Reddit post. Boruto anime, January 2025. saw a post on Twitter claiming that Boruto's continuation of the anime will begin January 2025. Not sure how accurate this is, but wanted to share it anyways, lol. Click on the Twitter link.
I've seen
Either
2025,
or
2027,
Yugi.
2028, and 2029. I don't know which it's
know.
supposed to be.
Let's translate those. Okay. Boruto Bolt Blue Vortex. TV anime adaptation scheduled for January 20... Bro, this is freaking cat, bro. There's no possible way. A popular manga currently being serialized in weekly... This is how you know it's freaking cap. It says it's a popular manga. Yeah, okay. Check out the kickoff visual here. Mappa is in charge of production.
How popular?
Bro, if it had an actual kickoff visual, people would know. Like, people would be shouting this out. To be fair, this was 14 hours ago, but I haven't seen today any YouTubers making, oh my god, Two Blue Vortex adaptation news. I know this looks like a cool trailer, but I freaking call it cap.
Bro, let's finish the code arc before we do that.
Oh, bro. Yeah, no, I'm saying it's definitely fake. Just based on this Himawari thing.
Oh
my god, I wish you could see my screen right now. They just like stretch and
Hold
squash.
on, I'm gonna run down real quick
way.
just to do that. I can't really stay down there because I'm trying to like make something, but I'm gonna run real quick.
Either they're just using AI to make this anime, or some dude just animated this in his free time using AI. Oh,
Alright,
actually, it looks like the comment that this might just be a fan trailer anyways. So I guess we wouldn't count this. But the point
I want
is...
to see the Himawari thing.
Okay, so you're looking at the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Look at this nonsense with Himawari. Like, you can't really tell it that way, but like, look at this. Like, it just looks ridiculous. Look at her face.
What specifically are you referring to?
Her face is just stretching. The most ridiculous plasticky way.
Yeah.
Like it's elongating like 20% or something ridiculous. Just looks anime or like AI.
Also, look at Kawaki's hair for a second. Hold on. Something's off-putting about it.
I'm telling you, bro. There's something off-putting about this whole thing. Even me, like all of it. Like, Boruto looks cool,
looks,
but
odd. But it doesn't look accurate.
Yeah.
No, the fact that it says Masashi Kishimoto, that's how you know. It should say Mikio Ikimoto.
Yeah, it's freaking cat, bro. What these comments are saying. You can go back upstairs if you want. Oh, while you're downstairs, are you still looking?
Okay. If it'll be quick, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be quick. It'll be quick.
Real quick.
Okay. You see this panel?
Okay, I remember you pulled this up. Yeah.
In the anime, these are swords. These are the samurai swords rather than Kimimaro's bones. It doesn't make any sense. It's just an animation error. I'm guessing based on a couple of these bones, the way they look, especially this one.
I think I remember that actually, yeah.
Because it's like, because the anime or the manga isn't colored, they could just look at this and maybe think it was supposed to be swords. It's just hilarious. They're just all stabbed through their own swords fighting Kimimaro. It doesn't make any sense at all.
They attacked each other. Well, I think the way I interpreted it, if I saw that, was that Chio made them stab themselves.
Yeah. It's just
that being said,
though.
It's funny that Naruto says things have changed. Kimimaro
He's surrounded by dead bodies.
To never beat Kimimaro. Did things really change, Naruto? You still can't beat him.
I mean, this is his character flaw. He says the same thing to Obito until he realizes he was wrong.
I do that. Kimimaro and Choji rewrite stuff was peak.
I'm saying
we gotta like
cut it out.
Go through that and just make it a video, like a genuine video, not a clip video. Well, we'll do that, but like
we'll
an
do
actual
both.
Video too.
Yeah. If it's anything we can do both of, me and you, we always do both. You in particular.
And even if we can't, we do it anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so the comments seemingly hate this. Studio Pierrot isn't going to give up Boruto, and they can't start Two Blue Vortex since part 1 isn't even finished yet.
What is the proper pronunciation? A Perio? Is it Puro? Puro? Perio? How are you supposed to say it?
So, the thing with Japanese names, so for example, Ada, using katakana, it's pronounced Ada, but they don't pronounce it like that in the anime because that's not her name, because Japanese people do this a lot, to where it's literally meant to be a pun, which is why they pronounce it the way they do. And they do this with a lot of names, not just Ada. So any character that has a pun as a name is usually pronounced wrong on purpose. So Piro, I think it is just pronounced Piro.
Okay.
I don't know how it's, if it would be like that, but yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Always wonder because everyone says it different.
You can say
What is it
period.
actually?
Now, I like saying period myself, but I just did it in this case.
Okay.
Anyways,
Well, I'm intrigued.
there isn't enough content for a 12-episode season, for fuck's sakes, and people keep asking for an anime. I mean, to be fair, I think there might be enough for 12 episodes. Just adapt one chapter per
It's
episode.
definitely enough for 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can definitely pull that one off.
Someone else says fake.
Well, it's not in. They have one chapter per. They can do 2 chapters per episode with how much they have to work with, because they left off at 67. There's an additional 13 plus 12, 25 chapters. So they can do 2 chapters per episode, and they could still do it.
When Naruto did 2 chapters per episode, I'm gonna say they should not do Boruto 2 chapters per episode.
Well, no, they shouldn't. But I'm saying that, like,
They
even if they
could.
did, they would still have enough.
It'd be the stupidest decision they've ever made. And that's including 2 blue
Nah,
Borutos.
Nah. I think that still would be the dumber decision.
So someone else here says, we haven't even received the Naruto specials yet, LMAO. And that comment was a punch to the gut when I read that one. That just hurts.
Exactly. Like, can we get those 4 episodes first?
Before we even think of a
only
seasonal
4.
anime, let alone coming back full force.
Yeah.
There's no official
Can we
date.
just
when
get those
Boruto's
real
in
quick?
June. Yeah. Twitter One Piece love to make MMV videos, so my guess is it's fake, LMAO. Studio Eclipse presents Boruto 2 Blue Boruto. So I think Studio Eclipse is like a fan studio. I think they're saying this to call out the person who made that fake article, because the fake article I don't think was showing off Studio Eclipse on purpose. So like, I think that person's just calling them out.
Yeah.
Anime doesn't come back anytime
Probably.
soon, and here's why, and he gives this freaking long list of whys, so I'm gonna guess it's fake.
Probably. I feel like we would have an actual official announcement if it was real.
Yeah.
Like, more than this one random article would know about it.
Exactly.
Like, what are they? Where are they getting their information
Well, with that being
that only
said,
they have?
we covered everything I wanted to this stream, and I don't care if you're still cooking. Is there anything more you had to say this
Wow.
stream that we're not gonna cover in freaking 15 hours from now when we start the next stream talking about Naruto?
Are we still doing one? I guess today at this point, but tomorrow.
It should be. It's scheduled at least with the guy that emailed me.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if this was the guy who emailed you or not.
Oh no. So this guy
Was Ace just someone you asked?
Yeah, so this guy is essentially in collaboration with the SS Jutsu community. So shout out Adonis, SS Jutsu. That's where he comes from. I was in his Discord server, and Ace was in his Discord server. And that's how we met each other. We're both his community members. And so hopefully we can do more collaborations with his community, because Adonis is cool, SS Jutsu. So yeah. We'll figure that out at some point. It's cool that we could do that crossover, if you want to consider it a crossover special event. There you go. And anyways.
Well,
yeah,
then I
tomorrow's
feel like,
video.
yeah, I would be good then.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I'm again very sad we couldn't keep this under 6 hours. But still. Actually, we should probably read comments. I haven't done that in like 5
Especially-
hours. But
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Like,
I'm crafting a
especially
little
since
workout.
we can't
Shout
clip
out
out the rewrite part.
I can clip it out. I
We'll
just
have
can't.
to make the
I
video.
can clip it. I just can't clip it out. So I'm absolutely going to clip it. The problem is I have to clip it after the stream immediately rather than any time in the next couple days, which is annoying. But whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. What time is it for you guys? Well, it was 11:13 when you commented that. It's now 5:29 a.m. Okay. Yo, what's up, Junio? Oh yeah, so I meant to read this out at the time when we were talking about the strongest academy students. Man, remember we're going to talk about the Genin afterwards and then the Chunin Jonin? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we could do that really quickly.
No, we
and just try
can't
not
do
to
it really
elaborate.
quickly, Kamui. We can do it, but we can't do it really quickly. So no, we shouldn't do it. But this comment
Oh, fun.
mentioned something that absolutely is the case. Shinky's Iron Sand. Bro's going above like the verse as an academy student. Like,
Yeah, actually, I kind of forgot. He's probably be really high up there too.
I guess in the tuning exams, you wouldn't
Honestly,
count him
it
as the
might-
academy, you'd count him as Genin. But even then, like when Gara found him before he's even in the academy at all, he's making like an iron sandstorm, freaking out like a Jinchuriki level feat. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, never mind what I said about Gara. Shinky's probably just doing that, but better. Although he
Exactly.
doesn't have the automatic protection benefit, but which I guess was pretty huge, especially early on.
I mean, I feel like he doesn't need it if he has a freak out Jinchuriki level sandstorm in base, but
Yeah, Shinky, Mitsuki, and then who was the other person we were saying? The sleepers that we didn't think of at first.
he said a couple names. I don't know. I don't care at this point.
We said too many.
I'm working on a car at 11:30 p.m. Not my idea, so I'll probably be back later. All right, see you, Dari Shikage. Hope you come back later. Let me scroll down to see if he came back. I don't see him. Yeah,
It'd
Dari
be funnier
Shikage.
if he was saying that like now.
I guess Dari Shikage is still working on the car. That's great. That's a long car. Maybe he fell asleep. I don't know.
Is he like? Is that his job, or is he just like going out to work on his car? Like that could influence things.
Exactly. Would
But
Kisame
if that's his job, is he
even
just
help
expecting us to
Zabuza,
be
though?
for another 8 hours?
Space, I'm more so curious why you're even questioning if Kisame would help Zabuza, though. What leads you to believe there's even speculation on if he would, based on his character in multiple facets? Next comment, I guess. Okay, so first of all, I want to go back to Zabuza. So I might actually retract my Zabuza statement, because not only did he only kill Academy students when he was in the Academy, that's not very impressive. Like, pretty much anyone we listed could have done the same thing. Academy students aren't very impressive to kill. But it's also the fact that it's missed Academy students. The Mist Village being notorious for having, I think, the second weakest battle power in all of the villages.
Wait, is that? Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. So how does the ranking go then?
So in the
If you
data
have
book,
any
they
idea.
do list like a 1 out of 5 numerical value of battle power in reference to the village itself. I don't remember the ranking, but you could probably just guess it yourself. It also depends on the
Well, I'm
time
wondering
period.
if I wanted to know if the Sand Village was last place.
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. Go Sand, then I think Mist.
Well,
I
based
think
off the data or situation, it feels like they had to be.
Yeah. I think this actually in Thunder God's video. What if Orochimaru's Konoha assault was in the other 4 great villages instead of Konoha, and he used the village's battle power ranking, the data book, to determine this? To be fair, I think their battle power ranking is more so in reference to how they perform in war rather than like internal coup d'etats, basically. But still, I think it's still relevant. Point is, each village does have a listed battle power ranking, which I think is very interesting.
Another
Yeah.
thing I was wondering about is hypothetically, especially for the Sand Village, this would apply. If they really are just ass, except for 2 ninja, are they gonna get like a 1 out of 5, or are they gonna get a 5 out of 5 if those two ninja are strong enough to make up the difference?
Well, I don't think it's that they're all bad. I think just that their cream of the crop just isn't that strong. Like Baki is their strongest Jonin.
No, I agree. But my point that wasn't really my point. My point was about the ranking system. The
But again,
numbers
I think on
that was-
average, their 3 Genin were stronger than on average the Konoha Genin. I feel like
well, they were.
that's where
the
their
cream
battle
of the-
power is lost out.
They were like, I mean,
upper ranks.
but it's literally just that one family plus Baki. Everyone else sucks.
I wouldn't say everyone else sucks. I would say everyone else is probably comparatively around the same as the other villages, if not the same as Konoha.
I guess the problem is that all the Jonin in Konoha seem strong, but only one Jonin in the Sand Village seems strong.
Like, those girls Gara was mentoring, maybe they could have beat up Hinata from the tuning exams. I don't know. I'm not just gonna say they are like citizen level. They are
Well,
ninja.
I'm not saying that, but
Yeah, like they don't suck at all, I don't think. Even then, you got like other obviously high-ranking
I
members
mean,
that
if
you
we
already
just
know.
want to look at the standouts, that is
Yeah.
one way to do it. Well, if we're
No, I
looking
think
at
it's
the
the
standouts,
overall,
though, I'm
it's the
kind of surprised
thing.
by the Mist Village.
So I think it's the average, if anything. Like you just throw everyone against them.
I'm so surprised by the Mist being so low, though, because like the Cloud Village, you've got like Darui, B, and I guess that's C and Dodai. I guess that's it.
Again,
then
you're just
the
looking
Leaf
at the
Village is
cream of the
obvious.
crop. I would say remove them and just put like a normal Cloud versus normal Mist. Who wins? Say based on what we know, normal Cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe, but like I mean, normal Leaf versus normal Sand. We already saw that the Leaf just dominates.
Exactly. And they're the cream of the crop, so yeah, it makes sense.
But like the Stone, like I don't know, like
I mean, take it up with the data books. I don't know what to tell you.
we've got Afro, we have Afro Dude and
Just looking at who we know, that's the problem.
Data. I don't think about. That's all.
But
we
I
know.
mean, even if like they're the weakest villages, the villages themselves are still powerhouses. Like the Mist Village was in particular very weak early on, but because they had already militarized, a clan as strong as the Kaguya clan couldn't do anything against the militant force that was the Mist Village.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even the Uzumaki, the most OP clan in the world, you throw the other 4 villages against them, they can't do anything. They just get genocided. But anyway. Yeah.
I want to know specifically which villages were involved in that.
Bro, I'm saying Hashirama is evil. I don't care what you say. Bro took him out.
But so I can't remember where the source was that said that like the Uzumaki clan was gonna get like expanded upon into Blue Vortex. I'm a little bit skeptical about that.
We'll
but, like,
see.
I forgot where I saw that.
I can't wait for them to prove me right.
It was like an interview or something. They said like, "Oh, it would be a spoiler." That's what I thought. I remember hearing, but I don't remember.
I mean, we both definitely saw it, so well.
Yeah. Either way, I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
Like,
When did Hashirama
can we
create?
work on the characters in the story first, like Chojo, before we
Literally.
try to do these other people?
Yeah. Space, what you're saying, Obito is controlling Yagura, not the Mist Village, so that's in reference to that. Sumire, what? Okay, Sumire with Nue. Oh, that's a good one. Academy Sumire.
I was gonna say Sumire actually is a potential, but I wasn't counting Nue for it.
That's the
I
problem.
was just gonna say her in general. That's why.
And again, like in power, like in a tier list, we would exclude them. So.
Yeah, because she doesn't. It's not like something she can really use. It's kind of like, yeah, she can do it and just like blow up everyone, but
It's like an external thing. It's like same as Naruto summoning Gamabunta. That's not Naruto.
summonings get tricky because it's like it's not him, but it's also an asset he has. It's stupid because the summoning jutsu, it's a jutsu, but it's also like
What's
another
a different sentient life force though? Like Gamabunta could just refuse to fight. Then Naruto just wastes his chakra. How's that
Exactly.
an asset?
The only reason I say it's worth mentioning is that at least with the summoning, it is a feat to be able to summon like Yamabuta. The fact that he
That's
can
fine.
do it.
Well, even
is
then,
a
no, I'm not.
feat,
No, I
and
don't think it does count because if you don't look at other characters, sure, base Naruto can't summon Gamabunta. Ninetales Naruto can. You count that two different versions of Naruto. He can't do it without Kurama's chakra.
Yeah, so you would like if you're gonna do like the 800 billion versions of Naruto, you would just count Gamabunta under the version that can summon them.
Assuming we were going to do that at all. But yeah. What you can do is after he's already summoned him, if like Naruto's on top of his head and they're like fighting together, you can in that case count them as one entity, but then you would have 3 different versions. One of Naruto, one of Gamabunta, one of them combined.
Yeah, which I think I'm not sure if like that's why Kagi tier list does this, but I think it might.
Yeah.
Which is the easy way to just do this. Just have the 500. I mean, if you're going to go to the lengths of having 8 billion versions anyway, you might as well just do it. That one too.
Exactly. So, for example, like Naruto transforming him into the Ninetales can count, or Naruto jumping on top when the Ninetales Gamabunta grabs Shukaku. I guess you can count. I'm specifically looking at more like teamwork aspects of like Jiraiya doing oil, or I guess the Toads doing oil, Jiraiya doing fire to combine it into a bigger attack that neither of them can do on their own. That's more so what I'm looking at. But yeah. Let's see. Sumire, though, I mean, she still scales high regardless of Nue, in my opinion.
She would still be, but she's definitely below Mitsuki, for example. So we're not counting Nue. She's not a consideration.
She's below mentally resolved base Mitsuki. I think she contends with normal Mitsuki.
I don't think Mitsuki was particularly resolved. Mitsuki didn't give a shit. He was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill her. Like, it's my job. Like,
that is resolve.
I don't think he had some like
he was being serious.
Hiruzen mental resolve amp. He's just like, I don't care.
Bro, he doesn't need a Hiruzen mental resolve amp. He was trying to kill her. Same with the Mist Village guy in the next arc.
But that's just like Mitsuki's normal resolve at that point, especially like that's just normal Mitsuki.
No, it isn't. Like it's different from like the
Mitsuki
Academy games where it's the boys versus the girls of capture the flag. He's trying to capture the flag, but he's not being serious about it. Like here, Boruto's life is at risk, by the way.
So that's Mitsuki trying versus Mitsuki not trying.
Okay, and I think Sumaire's scaling to a Mitsuki that's trying.
It's just Mitsuki not trying.
Like the clash,
but Sumire was also trying to kill.
The clash where Boruto gets in between them and activates the Jogan to teleport them away. They were both trying to kill each other there.
That's my point. So it's just that evens out.
That's what I'm saying. Is that Sumaire's scaling to a Mitsuki who's actually trying. Why is it?
Yeah, but that's also him not using stage mode, so that's why it doesn't scale to him as just a person, which is what we were talking about earlier.
Well, that's fine. He doesn't have to use stage mode. He can still be trying all out in base. Again, I'm not saying he's going Hiruzen level resolve amp all out, but he's still trying and he's being serious and he has no reason to hold back necessarily.
Yeah, but my point is, my point is purely that she just wouldn't be part of the list because he's just obviously over. Unless she was going to knock someone else out.
No, Mitsuki is over her, but she's still around the same level in some regards. That's all I was getting at. She's still in the conversation.
Definitely one of the stronger ones.
Yeah. Plus, if we're counting the teamwork element, at least mine definitely would have teamwork. Whereas if we're just listing 3 of the strongest, they're probably not going to have good coalition with one another. I don't think I'm using that word right, but I'm gonna use it anyways.
Cooperation.
Sure. I'm gonna stick with coalition anyways.
That's the right word. What does that mean again?
Who cares? Screw it, I guess I'll look it up. Coalition. Did I spell it right? Is it a place? Form of government.
No. See,
a coalition is a coalition is formed when 2 or more people. Oh my god, okay, so far this is right. Temporarily work together to achieve a common goal. Bro, I got it completely right. It is literally, mine's even better than cooperation. I did mean to say this.
I don't think that's what you had in mind, but it worked.
No, it's literally what I had in mind. It just coincidentally happened to also be the exact definition. I guess I subconsciously knew it, but like coincidentally it just worked out. Like I wasn't just throwing that word out there willy-nilly for no reason. I just didn't know it was right. But I was just dead on. More so than I even realized. Oh, God. What about hidden in the blood? Exactly. When did Hashirama create the Will of Fire ideology? When he killed Madara?
Yeah.
Imagine if Boruto found some white Zetsu. Oh, just like he did. Who doesn't want to cause harm anymore and doesn't mind joining. Kamui, do you have a TV on, or is your brother talking, or?
Hold on a second. I'm gonna go downstairs in a second. I figured out this is gonna be picking up. You talk, I'll mute.
I was talking out. I couldn't even hear what I was saying over that. Imagine if Boruto just found some white Zetsu who doesn't want to cause harm anymore and doesn't mind joining Boruto. I mean, fun to imagine, I guess. Is that leading anywhere? Oh, it's fun rewrite fanfic. Go for it, Space. Hear what you got. Oh yeah, that's me. I think Village Hidden in the Ruins could have been cool, bro. I completely agree. That'd be cold. Village Hidden in the Depths,
the ruins.
Even. Village Hidden in the Darkness. I like it. Ruins is cool. The Mystic Ruins. Shout out Sonic.
The Village Hidden in the Shadows and the Village Hidden in the Light is the Kage is hilarious.
Village Hidden in the Light isn't as cool, especially if it's compared to Village Hidden in the Shadows. I just like Shadows by itself. So it's not a yin and yang type of nonsense.
Well, yeah, Shadows is just automatically cooler, but like, I figure if you're gonna have the Shadows, you should have the Light.
No, because if you have the Light, then it's changing what the Shadows even means in this case.
Not inherently. It depends on the context of what you're doing.
Whatever.
It just depends on whether yeah, it just depends on what you want to do with these villages.
Here's something someone was addressing, which is like the elephant in the room.
The village hidden in the bricks.
Village in the bricks is so stupid. People just make stupid jokes like, oh, I bet everyone there is bricked out all the time.
The village hidden in the sticks.
That's even stupider. You could be arguing they're country hillbillies or something. Hoboken.
Exactly. The village hidden in the weeds.
Oh my god, weird. Where free games from.
I love that.
Moving on. Please don't say another one. Moving on. We have Still Earth Blaulu covering the elephant in the room. But Choji wouldn't have the pills since Sorcery didn't have the puppets. So I was wondering this time, how would you rewrite this? But I also didn't care enough to ask because going with rewrites, it's not about how you write, it's about what the right is. So there you go. I didn't care how.
Yeah, so I said, well, I thought I mentioned it, and it's this one's simple. Kabuto's the god tier medic who can create food pills anyway and do all this wacky shit. Bro's just gonna make Akimichi clan pills, or he's gonna steal them just like he stole Choji's body in the grave. You don't think he can go to the Akimichi clan store while he's at it?
Yeah.
Bro can make them or take them. I don't care.
My solution for this, I didn't say it out loud, I'm saying it for the first time now. My solution for this was Kabuto got his DNA, or I guess Zetsu got his DNA as he was dying or as he died. Like, even after he died, that's fine. And so the DNA he got contained his form with the red pill essence still inside of it. And so he would just come back in Kid Tensei, with the red pill basically in base at that point.
And that can work too.
Yeah. Like he would just come back with the benefits of the red pill without having to take the red pill. That's just his new form, because that is the form that was taken with his DNA or whatever.
I think either way works fine. Like that can work, or I mean, I really think it is just as easy for Kabuto to just make them or go steal them, like he stole all the bodies in the first place. Really, like it's that unbelievable that Kabuto did that.
It's not, but I just like mine better just because it's just less shenanigans thrown in for just a ridiculous point that you can just easily get around.
Either way.
So, I mean, if Kabuto's doing this, just give it to all the Edo Tensei at that point. Like, make it 1,000 times stronger.
That's where I'm thinking maybe Steel would be better, because it can just be the only 3 pills that were left. So he gives them to Choji just because of the mental. I guess maybe. I guess at that point, though, why would you not give it to like?
Yeah,
Nagato
bro, he's giving it to Kid Choji. Really? Like, he's not even thinking that, like, he's not bringing Kid Choji back because Kid Choji is a powerhouse. He's bringing him back to fight Ino and Shikamaru.
All right, let's go with yours, because that is actually hilarious. Everyone would be looking at Kabuto. Why did you give Kid Choji and not give it to Nagato?
Bro, this should go in our abridged, though. Kabuto goes like, we need like a 5-episode abridged arc where Kabuto goes out of his way to get these stupid pills.
And then he gives him to Choji.
Oh, so stupid. Like the stream, guys! Thanks, Cam! Imagine if Toby was an Obito and Kid Obito was a Edo in the war. Okay, whereas I like the idea space, I feel like that's just doing something they already did, but worse. The thing with the Kid Choji, the thing that makes it sense, they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like they did have Obito in the war.
No, Obito, I think it's just better.
Exactly. Now, hypothetically, Space, what if Toby just was an Obito, and then Obito just did die under those borders? Then yeah, having Kid Obito revived in the war would have been better. You don't need to do that. They already have something better. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we didn't get the better, we got the worse for Choji. In Choji's case, being alive was just worse, whereas in Obito's case, being alive is just better.
I like Cam's response to this. In all caps, foul. No!
What was it in response to?
It might have been in response to something we said. I like it way funnier if that's in response to Space.
Yeah. She's just like, no. That's foul.
I love it. I mean, I want to write more fanfics, especially MJ and JJK fanfics. Yeah, Space, we know. Wow, Cam says something shocking here. Not into rewrites, but I wanted to see what the vibe was. Really, Cam? I had no idea.
Was that a reference to our Naruto one? That was a long intro topic, so.
Well, considering she wrote this at 11:46 p.m.
That probably was what that was.
Yeah. Cam says something funny.
Bro, say what you want about the Kimimaro part. The Choji one is just straight up. Like, there's just no contesting. It's just better. Like, that's why that one was so easy to do.
Oh, no.
We were just all on the same page every step of the way.
I felt some bad at some parts because I feel like we talked so much because we were just so passionate about some ideas that like Ace just didn't have room in the conversation. But unlike who was it, Sanjay, we actually involved Ace in other conversations at the very least.
I forgot what the topic of the Sanjay stream even was. It was so long ago. Probably an Attack on Titan heated debate or some shit.
You know what? I think we had 8 people on that stream too. Like we brought Mello, we brought freaking everyone up. So.
Yeah, I think that I think actually may have been true too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was before the Minato manga came out though. So I know we did that with Juby Taz, who we also kind of talked over just to a lesser degree. And we had on afterwards to make up for it as well. Anyways, we still need to get Sanjay back on. And that stream, we have to make up for it by being more quiet than usual. And like Sanjay's talk like 80% of the time by himself.
Just force him. So what do you think about this? So what do you think about that?
Yeah. No, we become trippy. He finishes his point. It's like, all right, so what do you guys think? Yeah, I agree.
You pull a trippy.
Literally, yeah.
Anything else you want to add? Nope, you said it all.
I agree. Or we just say things that don't even make sense. Like he asks, what do you guys think? We say, yeah. A yes or no to an open-ended question. That's it.
Honestly, can you add that to the Trippy troll? Like, can you make it? I'm away from my phone right now. Can you make that a pinned message? I like that idea for Trippy. Just, yeah. If you ask anything. He says, he just out of nowhere says, oh, what do you think about current Boruto? Yeah, I agree.
The problem is this doesn't work with our current idea, and we're not gonna get 2 trippy trolls. So
we just gotta somehow integrate it. Just write it down.
Oh God.
You never know. Maybe the first trippy troll will invigorate him so much that he's just back again.
Ooh, okay, I'm gonna copy this into a screenshot and put this into podcast topics so we can bring this up tomorrow. That's actually a fun one. I'm not gonna say it out loud because Kamui's gonna be like, "You wouldn't know what it is." And put in podcast topics if you want to see it. There you go. Kishimoto said that Dataro was his favorite Edo, I guess, other than Madara. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like it is. I feel like I remember hearing that.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I feel like I've heard things like that. I mean, he likes Heat On a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if he likes Dataro a lot. Like,
but then similar, again,
like in some ways.
The same guy, Makevi the Dawn, which by the way I recognize your name. Shout out Makevi. He then follows it up by saying he even said he wanted Zabuza's twin brother as the final boss. I feel like that's not true, and he's just memeing with that, which makes the first part come into question as well.
That was a meme, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Kimimaro one-shots.
So we can't be sure.
Space, that's what Kishi said. Shrug emoji. Cam, true. I love it. Wait, hold on. We should get Jugo versus Kimimaro for sure. Like, maybe Sasuke can also be there since they were together doing the Roar arc, but that would also be emotional and give us more Jugo as well. I disagree. I don't think we should have got Jugo.
They would be the two that wouldn't fight in this hypothetical. Yeah, because especially in this case, we had Kimimaro not under mindless control, so like that fight just would never happen.
And I get how he could think it could work because I already had the established dynamic, and Kabuto was reviving people for this exact reason. And even in other rewrites, I think we've mentioned the fact that we want Jugo to confront Kimimaro. But I don't think we ever said fight. I don't think we should get that. Like, that's not their established role anyways. Like, Kimimaro is the guy that calms down Jugo. And sure, through the Edo Tensei nerf, maybe you could say Kimura's now on the same level as a mentally amped Jugo, and he beats him without going berserk in this case, but it's bad. I don't want that narrative.
Yeah, but like Berserk Jugo is probably not beating KCM Naruto clones and shit, so I don't know about that one.
Oh, I was thinking for the narrative that Jugo would specifically not be berserk when he beats Kimimaro.
Oh, well, while I agree narratively that's perfect, there's no plan in which that would be possible.
I know. Unless you're saying the Edo Tensei nerf is just that intense. Or even better yet, this is funny, he brings Kimimaro back with his sickness. And he's just dying the whole time as an Edo Tensei.
That'd be funny. Specifically him and only him.
I know, yeah. Like it does. Like instead of blood, he's just coughing up ash because he's Edo Tensei. Oh my god.
And like Kabuto's like laughing. He's like, haha, I purposely brought him back with this illness just to mess with Jugo, who he didn't expect to be part of the war anyway.
So stupid. No offense, Sith Arth
I prefer our version better.
I love the idea. Doesn't work when you think about it. But I see where your head's at. Again, I love the idea. Yeah.
I mean, you put Kimimaro in the sentence, so like you're kind of like guaranteed to get like something out of that.
Yeah. I love that. I love seeing that Ace is trying to be the middle insane man. I feel like that's a lot of our guests, though. That's sort of the dynamic that me and Kamui forced the guest into. Doesn't matter how crazy or unhinged the guest is in either direction. Me and Kamui are just guaranteed to be more extreme than that regardless.
Yeah, if there's one thing you can count on, it's that.
The guest is no matter what the middleman. Lord knows they need it, lol. Shout out Cam Cam. I mean, you shouldn't have Orochimaru whisper to Sasuke in some of Sasuke's most evil moments. Shouldn't have that? Sure. I mean, we weren't saying that, so that works. This is CQ Motivation. Welcome to the channel, CQ Motivation. Is it just me, or is anyone else waiting for an entire dialogue chapter that seems like it's never going to happen? I'm constantly waiting on getting answers since day one.
We got it in chapter 5, so maybe the theme will be the first chapter of every arc, and that's it.
We kind of got it in chapter 2.
Not in
the
a good
dialogue
way.
we wanted. I'm gonna zoom in so it's just easier to read. We're like 2/3 of the way done almost. Hey everyone, what's up, Quayon Webster? You got spoilers or is this a prediction? It's actually neither. We didn't talk about Boruto once. Only brought up as they're in examples. Star Wars Acolyte
And barely so.
2 is Acolyte is Acolyte a character in Star Wars, Kamui? What up, boys? What's up, Adam?
I don't remember. Maybe in the TV shows or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Sitharth Valu.
I never watched the TV shows though.
This is something we've talked about before,
What?
so rather than talking about this again in another stream or taking this in podcast topics and screenshot like I did with Spaces, I'll just answer this now. Which fight or moment from any of the Naruto and Boruto openings would you have wanted to happen? The pain fight one. I need
answered it in
Sakura
chat.
and Ino versus Konan. That's the one.
That was one of mine. I gave 2. They were both from the same opening. I said that one, and then my Team Guy versus Pain. I don't feel like there was any others that stood out to me.
Well, there's a ton that I would have liked to see, but I don't need to see them. Like Boruto versus that giant Jinchuriki-like monster from that one opening. Or like the Himawari rescue mission, if you want to count that.
Well, that's not a Naruto opening.
That's a Boruto opening. He says in Naruto or Boruto.
Oh, okay. I thought you said just in Naruto. But yeah, the big one was the Naruto Shippuden opening 7 ones. I will say a goofy one, but still worth mentioning, is Team Sevens with like Sai, Yamato, Kakashi, Sakura, and them versus Zetsu, Kisame, and Obito from I believe opening 11
Sure.
would be pretty cool too.
You also have one of the final Naruto endings where it's the silhouette of the characters fighting one another, just like the Konoha 11 or 12. Like, freaking, I would have loved to have Naruto versus Tintin just as an episode. That would have been cool. Those two completely clashing fighting styles going up against one another. Been so cool to see how they deal with one another's arsenals. Now, people don't like Tintin. People don't give enough credit. It would have been cool.
Naruto just makes 1,000 shadow clones, and Tintin realizes she only has 10 shuriken.
Bro, Tintin spams like 1,000 shuriken. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's right. She can do the flow.
Right.
You know, actually, can we talk about Tintin's levitation powers versus Tamari for a minute? Like, she was in the air for a lot longer than a jump.
It's anime timing. They slowed it down.
Except she was like throwing things at 100 miles an hour.
I mean, I think that's consistent. Again, she's just throwing it fast in slow motion. That's how fast she is throwing it. That's fine.
Bro, Tamari was freaking like, I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, look at it's the same thing with the.
Fast, I feel like she would have done better.
Look at Might Guy versus Mater. It's the same thing. It is in slow motion, and the Truth Seeker orbs are moving extremely fast. Both are happening at the same time. Just how fast the Truth Seeker orbs were.
Yeah, but like with that one though, it's like the scene was actually slowed down. With the Tintin one, it's not being slowed down. Like it's just she just is in the air for a long time.
I mean, you can almost say the same thing about Sasuke's junior exams fight. Like, he was in the air for a long time too. It was the Yoroi.
Oh yeah, no, the Dancing Leaf Shadow's another one. Rock Lee does the same thing.
Yeah, but there's a slowdown.
Like freaking the first time Rock Lee uses it, they're like dance. They have a whole conversation just floating in the air. Like
if anything,
and then the obvious is the tree jumping. Maybe they were using the tree jumping jutsu.
If anything, Rock Lee's fight was not slowed down against Gaara, because when he was in the air and he blinked, Gaara had enough time to escape his hug, go outside, open the doors, get a log, go back inside, and replace himself with that log, even though it was actually a sand body, not a log, but you get the idea.
Well, it wasn't a log, you know, it was his sand clone, but even still, like, how did Gaara of all people do that? Bro is not even fast.
I mean, you already know in our abridged, he's gonna go outside to get a log, so...
in the time that he blinks.
Yes. Only Kakashi could track it with a Sharingan.
And yeah, Kakashi could be like, wow, I never realized he was that fast.
You know what would have been really funny? If instead of Might Guy closing his eyes to pray, Might Guy, because he doesn't have a Sharingan, he couldn't have tracked the speed of Gaara's movements either.
Yeah, Gaara is just moving insanely fast. I like it.
Only through Kakashi's Sharingan. Like, if Kakashi didn't have his Sharingan activated, it's implied Kakashi would have been speed blitzed there too.
What if, like, we have it so that Kakashi doesn't have it at first? He's like, where'd he go? He activates the Sharingan and he, like, catches up to Gaara on his way back. He was like, if I didn't have my Sharingan, I wouldn't have figured out what he did.
He's doing this in the middle, like Gaara's doing this so fast, but Kakashi doesn't have time to react, but he has time to do this. What? I love it. Doesn't make any sense at all. Why I love it.
Are you writing it down?
It's on stream. It is written down publicly. It's fine.
Okay.
Isekai is so trash right now.
Easy to find.
Trash. Spoilers? Question mark? Yeah, probably. You got okay.
I can't wait for the day we actually like do the abridged.
People are spamming the green SpongeBob in reference to the My Hero Academia thing. Whatever. I'm forgetting things that happen afterwards. That's why I'm saying it can end in season 3, episode 4, because I just forgot things in the story that happen after. Yeah, okay. Hashtag justice for Vinland Saga. I don't know what that's in reference to. But yeah. Oh, you already answered.
Well, Oodie, do you give them justice?
I mean, season 2 earned justice. Season 1 didn't, in my opinion.
Well,
Yeah.
commenter that I can't see the name of.
Invincible.
Does that work as a compromise?
I said it was
Oh, that was Invincible.
Yeah.
Invincible, is that a compromise for you? Do you accept it?
They just woke up and late once again. Shout out Eternal Sunshine. Q-Wan Webster. Marshall. Can't believe he commented on this. With a one offhanded comment I said that never led anywhere, which you know where I was going with that. Marshall is a great anime, definitely top tier. Bro, we need someone who's seen Marshall. We need to ask every guest offhandedly, just as an example, and then come back to it like 3 hours later so they cannot connect it. Just, we need to ask everyone until someone says yes. Because, like, it's fun.
Yeah, that's actually awesome.
It's fun when we don't know if they've seen it. If we know they haven't seen it, it just feels like we are wasting time at that point. Like, there's no anticipation there. It's just dumb. Yeah.
It was fun the first time when we nobody knew what was going on.
Not even you, exactly. Yeah, now we know.
So I think I like the idea that we ask it very early and then we come back to it the end of stream and we haven't talked about it since. So that way they're just not expecting it.
Exactly.
And then it'll be funnier if they're still guessing Haku and then you're isn't it whatever his name is? And then oh my god, I get it or something. It'll just be better. Yeah. It would also be funny if they actually just guess it right. They
bro, I'm telling you.
See through the illusion.
We have to continue doing it until someone gets it right. I'm telling you. The problem is, to this day, we still, from the 4 people we've asked, not a single one of them has seen Marshall. Need to get more Marshall guests.
I mean, it seems understandable why, from the looks of it. Yeah. If they've seen it for the meme, nothing more.
Yeah, not a very popular anime, but it's popular enough. People have seen it.
Really? You think so?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's a renowned name in the anime sphere. That's why I knew about it in the first place.
Really?
Yeah. It was known as the next Black Clover for a short amount of time, anyways. People even compare it to Harry Potter. Not in terms of popularity, just in terms of what it's like. But yeah.
Interesting.
It's Miaru at 3 a.m., so I doubt they're still listening. When will Boruto Chapter 12 leaks be out? I am so curious. Kamui, I feel like you have a better answer for that than I would.
The answer I gave you the other day, probably I guess Thursday the earliest is my guess from what I've heard. I doubt they'll be out today. If they are, that'll be a surprise to me.
Oh crap!
Considering
it's the
I haven't even
the full
finished the chapter 11 video, but
yeah, we're only 3 days away from the official. It could come out tonight, not tonight, but tomorrow.
Nah, probably not.
It's the 17th. It could come out later today. Yes, it could. Only 3 days before. I'm not saying a version that I can read. I'm not saying a version I can read. I'm just saying at the very least a text synopsis, if not full scans, starting today.
Maybe because it seems like now people are doing the leaks later because of laws.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's less likely to get them out really early nowadays.
Does anyone here watch Demon Slayer? I'm fully caught up. Kamui watched 5 minutes of one random episode that I showed him. I think he said he did like it, so there you go. We're almost caught up, by the way. I can't scroll down anymore, so. The Boruto community is so incompetent that even our leakers refuse to post leaks. I don't think it's that, but I think we just addressed why, Nicolay. But anyways, even with the arrests that happened a couple of months ago, the One Piece community doesn't have these problems. I feel like it's you just address your own thing. It's so nonsensical. Do you have an address for that, Kamui?
I mean, the One Piece leakers aren't worried about getting arrested, I guess.
Exactly. Is Woody 38?
You know, I
This
can't
comes to
blame
take so many different
anyone
directions.
for
Like, three
being
different parts of
concerned
it.
about going to jail when other people have.
Yeah. In fact,
No,
you
I can't
saying the One
blame
Piece
'em.
community doesn't have these problems. Actually, I would say it's the opposite, to where this is a problem with the One Piece community, that they do the leaks. I would say Boruto's got rid of this problem, if anything. The leaks are problematic-ish.
Well, honestly, when you think about it, OP Scans, the OG, is One Piece. That's how it all started. Like, at least this stuff. OP Scans was like the OG. They were
No.
One Piece.
One Piece Scans took over doing it a day or two
OG in
earlier than
terms
it
of the
normally
chapters
was.
thing.
But like leaks have been coming out since I think like the OW arc early.
No, yeah, no, I don't mean like leaks in general. I mean like the whole nice scanned chapter thing versus the Twitter posts.
No.
that Abdullah
You're
used to do,
completely
for
wrong. Like
example.
this is how I read Boruto from Mujina Bandits onwards. Like to be fair, I always read it on the
Really?
20th.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I always read it on the 20th or maybe 19th or 18th even. But it was always full screen black background. Viz, if you catch my drift.
Well, yeah, I used to read it off those Viz websites you're referring to too, but
Yeah.
I don't think they were out on the 18th. They were just out on the 20th, and they
Well,
were
no,
the
keep
Viz
in mind,
chapter.
keep in mind, not every Boruto chapter releases on the 20th. Sometimes Boruto chapters officially do release on the 18th or 19th as well. Even 21st or 22nd
Yeah, but
sometimes.
the point is on the day.
Yeah, it's usually the
They
day
weren't
of, if
coming
not
out
the day
early.
before. The point is Boruto wasn't very popular back then anyway, so I don't really compare it to the official back then regardless.
Just wild.
I know.
Wow, that is popular now somehow.
Yeah. I feel like the Kara arc really started selling it for people. Like, because Boruto going into the Kara arc had
Yeah.
such a terrible reputation at that point. So it needed a comeback, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Especially coming, regardless of what people want to say about the first arc, we think it's good. A lot of people say, Boruto's a brat, it ruined Boruto, it sucks as a sequel to Naruto.
It's literally
Coming out of the
arguably the
Mujina
best arc in the
Bandits
series.
arc, where people are like solidifying and they have a point now. That's all Boruto was. And then going into a mediocre arc of the OW arc to where people still don't care even if it's a good arc. So the Car arc, I can
Yeah.
understand people looking at that as the first good arc
And
of
check out
Boruto.
the
The
now.
first 3 arcs of Boruto are just bad for reasons we've listed ad nauseum. But yeah, we caught up in chat, by the way. So, yeah. Kamui? Alright, well.
Muted for a second.
Okay, there you go. That's fine. Kamui, any final words to the stream that's been going on for 7 hours and 13 minutes?
I feel like we're good at this point.
We walkied and he talkied and that's all, folks. And fine. Oh my god! 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 Calmly. I'm not even gonna say this out loud, so you can have the same reaction
What?
as me. I'm not even gonna say it out loud. I'll even leave it here so you can just look. Look at chat. Look at chat.
Well,
You can't look at your screen. Oh my
Hold on.
god! Calmly. You can't look at your screen.
No, I'm gonna pull it on my
no
phone.
scenario, no. Okay. I'm fine with that. Fine with you looking on your phone. That's fine. Look at chat.
Oh no way.
Bro, I know. I have been, oh my god, working on the car the whole time. Dude, bro, I literally caught it. There's no way. Dari Chicago, you need to go
That's
back
awesome.
like 15 minutes ago to where I was talking about that. That's great. What a way to bring it full circle, because I think I mentioned at the very beginning of the stream when you commented that as well. So
That was a good finale.
literally, we addressed everything. It's come back to the beginning, the alpha and the omega, and over and out.
That's awesome. I'm glad he managed to come back at the last second like that.
He says lol 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 lol.